Go for the midnight dares. Go for the game. Go for the hits. Go for the fans. Go for the win. Go to Ocean Casino Resort. Book your trip at theoceanac.com.
What are you doing? Selfies there? Is that what you're doing?
Well, no, you just have to always make sure, you don't have anything hanging out of your nose and stuff like that, So
yeah, you got to check out, see if you got the stalactites and
stalagmites. Yeah,
Could you maybe have done that before we started the show? Is that possible?
Well, D guys like to do stuff at the last minute. So you
didn't have a little bit of time right before we came on? Is that no?
Hey man, why y'all up in my business, man?
Oh my God!
You just put the business out there.
Yeah, Barrett. He claims he's checking for stalagmites. He's taking selfies. You know how he is. He's going straight to the gram, as they say.
Wait.
Yeah, you try to be hip, aren't you? You try to be cool. Doing what the kids are doing.
Been on the airways 5 seconds. You two are already attacking me. I told you I'm a sensitive male of the new millennium.
That's how we do it.
I'm trying to tell you this.
That's how we do it. So anyway, hi, welcome in everybody. We are Sports Take. Derek Gunn, Barrett Brooks.
See what I got to deal with?
It's unbelievable, man. It is unbelievable. Every day. Yeah, we got to keep you on your toes, Barrett. We got to keep you on your toes. What up, everybody in the comments section? How we doing today on this? I don't have a case of the Tuesdays like I did last week. I remember I told you guys Tuesday's usually more of a struggle bus for me than Monday is.
Yeah.
You know why?
I'm all right today.
You know why?
Yes. Why?
Because you listen to D-Gun. That's why.
That's right. I took your counsel. Yeah.
Yes. Finally, after 20 years. How long have I known you? Since
25 years?
Since
have
97?
we really known each other 25?
Dude, I'm telling you. Can you believe 25 years is coming gone?
It is coming up.
Think about this. I remember when, you used to bring your little ones in the office and stuff. I used to bring my little ones in the office and have them at my desk. And you think about it, man. I mean, there were a lot of days. A lot of us, when we were at NBC, when we were first starting, we would all bring our kids in the office some days and have them hang out, man.
It's true. Barrett was still crushing it on the gridiron. He was still an Eagle at that point.
Yes.
When you and I first met, man.
Yep.
Who would have known? Who would have figured? We were over there interviewing him, and he doesn't even remember us.
No, you know what he says? He says, "No, D-Gun, you used to just ignore me because I wasn't one of the star players."
You know what?
Exactly what it was.
He's not lying. I mean,
I'm gonna be honest with you. I swear to God, I had no idea who Barrett Brooks was, man. Like, I didn't. I didn't know.
I knew as an Eagles maniac. I obviously knew it was second round pick in 95.
Well, I knew that much. Yeah.
Knew, but I didn't know Barrett. I remember interviewing him on occasion, but not a lot. I don't
because I had heard he was surly. He didn't like to talk to people. So
that was definitely not. You guys know that was not the case. What it was is D-Gun didn't feel like asking Barrett Brooks any questions.
D-Gun was over by
he was over Ricky Waters, Charlie
Q
Garner.
later. Exactly.
Yeah. He's interviewing, all the big name guys, Michael Zordich, guys
Michael
like
Zordich.
that.
Good pull right there.
Zordich. Tim Houck.
I saw Tim. I was with Tim actually. I did a game at what was that? Montana. I did a Montana
that's where he's from.
game.
He's from that area.
Yeah, and he was there. His brother is actually a coach at Montana.
Okay.
So he was there at the game, after the game, and I saw him like, Tim? He said, "Man, I'm surprised you remember me, man." I said, "Why you say that?" "Well, I look old as hell and look at you. You look like you drank from the fountain of youth."
There you go.
And see, I want to thank Chris D. Chris, thank you for understanding about personal hygiene and grooming. But Chris, you need to get out of Hawaii. The cost of living in Hawaii, you're probably rich, but you living in Hawaii. I guess Philly native moved to Hawaii. Not a bad choice, say 10 years ago. But Chris, you got to relocate.
Does Chris do workouts on the beach? Which
I hope. Good point.
She should. So we'll find out from Chris.
Hey, Chris, send us some videos, Chris. Do you work out on the beach and all that stuff? Send us some videos so, we can be inspired to work out.
Bro, it's so expensive.
And Derek means that in a workout way. You tell somebody to send some videos, man, you got to be careful.
Workout. I said working out.
I'm trying to help you, man. I'm trying to help you.
I appreciate it. I want people to, I'm glad you said to clarify. Workout video.
Before the comments start, I
know, man. Yeah, because we got some interesting people in this comment section. I ain't gonna lie to you, bro.
Talking about going to Hawaii. Let me tell you a story, man. My last year we played in the Aloha Bowl. I was in college.
Right.
We actually played Boston College. I didn't play against Mike Mamula. That's a different story right there. My right tackle played against Mike Mamula, and I think he's the reason why Mike Mamula got drafted.
Your guy had a tough day.
Oh my God, bro. He was working him over. He gave up 3 sacks in the first half.
Ooh.
So we're going out at halftime. We're going back out on the field at halftime. I said, hey, Brooksy, man, let's switch side for a little while, man. This guy's too tough and I can't block him. I was like, what are you talking about? I can't go play right. I haven't played right tackle ever. He's like, come on, man. So I go over to right tackle.
Wait, you just did it?
Yeah, and I sent him over to the left side. So he goes to the left side. I turn around and Mamula looks at me, lines up and looks at me. He said, oh, hold on. And then go over to the other side, tell Colin Stalin, hey, Stalin, come on over here. So they flip side. He goes over there and gives up another sack, man.
Are you kidding me, man?
Yeah, bro. It was tough on him, man. But,
wow.
He was tough. But the reason I say it expensive, I go there, and this is back in 94, and I went to McDonald's to get a Happy Meal.
Right.
And it was like, I'm not a Happy Meal, but a Big Mac meal.
Yeah. And
back then, this is back in 94, and a Big Mac meal was $9. So I can only imagine.
What?
$9?
$9.
That's crazy.
And what year was this?
94.
Those things should have been like $3.50, $4 maybe.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It was $9.
I have no desire to move to Hawaii or Alaska. You know,
Chris checks in.
What?
She worked at Job Corps in Philly and got a transfer to Maui in 2003. Trains people at home and at the gym. Okay.
Yeah, you better transfer your business back to the mainland because I'm sure you're going broke in Hawaii right now. Woo!
Maybe she does well. Who knows?
Yeah,
bro,
hey, look,
it's ridiculous in Hawaii. And then I'll tell you another story about Hawaii, man. I go in this place. Now, first of all, you got to understand this is my last college football game. I got 1,000 agents in my pocket. You know, they're all trying to. So I had maybe $2,000. This is 94. I had $2,000 in my pocket. I go in a little trinket store. Now they have little crystal trinkets. Yeah. Like they have dolphins and stuff like that. Little
shake
dolls.
bobble, little ball.
Yeah. So I go in there and this Asian lady looks at me and she just staring at me the whole time. So I walk on one other side. I'm walking on the other side of the store. She walks all the way behind me and looks at me.
Uh-oh.
Then I walk towards the front from the other side, and she's gonna walk with me, and she gonna tell me the typical thing, hurry up and buy. I'm like, what? Who are you talking to? I ain't gotta buy nothing in here. And she stared at me. Well, get out of here. Leave. You can't just look. Leave. What? I don't want it in your store. I'm calling the cops. Call the cops then. Call the cops, lady. Man, I must have cussed her out so bad, bro. I said, you being prejudiced, man. I mean, I was hot. And the police are, sir, I'm like, no, this is America. You know what I'm saying? It's Hawaii, but it's still America. I ain't got to go nowhere if I don't feel like going nowhere.
Jeez.
Bro, it was crazy, man. And I showed the cops, see, you know what? This little $5 trinket, look what I got in my pocket. Then he gonna ask me, well,
where'd you get that?
Why do you have it in your pocket? Yep. Because I'm a grown man about to go to the NFL, partner. I was hot. I was mad. I was hot. So, I left, and that's when I went and bought me a $9 hamburger
to wash away your sorrows.
$9.
Yeah,
$9 Big Mac.
That's
you
funny.
See what Chris said? I'm going broke out here in Hawaii. I have 5 jobs.
Hey, Chris, I hear you. I'm going broke here in Philly, and I got 5 jobs too.
Right.
I hear you.
What's that?
Good morning, Mom.
What's that old Jamaican saying?
I'm sorry, I didn't see Mama Brooks.
Where's Mama Brooks?
There she. I didn't see
her.
Bro,
she hot as fish grease right now too. She says 99 degrees outside now. She bad.
It is nasty in some parts of the country.
Yeah, that Midwest heat ain't no joke, bro.
No, that's why I tell people it's the extremes of all. Like on the West Coast and the East Coast, it's different. When you're in the Midwest, it's the extreme. When it's hot, it's super hot. When it's cold, it's super. Like it might be when it's cold, it's like maybe 5 degrees. Mm-hmm. Then when it's super hot, it's like it's like 102. We say
I agree with Jabari. Barrett's stories are undefeated. I can't. There's no argument there.
I can't make them up, man. And people always try to catch me in a lie, and then I mean, it always comes full circle. That's why I say you can't lie when you're on TV because it always comes back to you. If you
especially now, everything can be tracked now.
Right,
you can you get away with stuff maybe back in the day, but not anymore. Not anymore, man.
A little bit. I told you guys about Reggie White when it was like 2 minutes left, and he threw me.
Yeah.
I sent you guys. I
started YouTubing it.
Yeah, I said it, and I'm like, don't need me to lie about it. He did it there. He did it to Larry Allen.
Well, that's the thing. That's the thing, Barry. He killed everything. If he did it, if it was just you, if it was some scrub who picked you up at 3, then it might be. It's Reggie White. That's an honor.
Right.
To be thrown around by Reggie White's an honor.
Hey, Barrett, if you want to give me a Father's Day gift,
what's that?
Give me that video so we can show it on that show, man. I got to see
that
video.
Come on,
man. That video.
Maybe for your birthday next year.
You know what? It was on IG, man. I was on IG. So
now, and the reason I find it humorous is because, like I said, Barrett, like 6'5". What was your playing weight?
At that time I was 6'5", about 320.
Okay, so 6'5", 320. Reggie White was like 290.
Yeah,
right? He was like what, 6'2", 6'3", 290.
Yeah, about 6'3".
And if you looked at him, there was like no definition.
Right,
like, he wasn't
a muscular dude
or anything. No.
Well, but he did this to everybody.
Right. Well, bro, I tell people, I try to equate it all the time because this is the way I equate it. My pops, man, was big. He was a big dude too. He's like 6'3", but his back was like twice as big as my back. Like he was like, silverback. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So, my pops, when he grabbed me, you knew I was grabbed. You know what I'm saying? Like that grown man strength. I felt that grown man strength before with my pops when I was like, 5, 6 years old, 7 years old.
Yeah.
Well, here I am, a grown man, and Reggie grabbed me like that, and I felt like I was my pops grabbing me, bro. That's how I felt.
The thing that made it, the thing that made his signature move so fascinating was everybody knew it was going to happen at some point. See,
my man, by the way.
And I still remember when he played for Green Bay and they played in the Super Bowl against New England and won that game.
Oh,
in the fourth quarter, he took over the fourth quarter. And you see shot after shot of him using the club move, taking the tackles and flipping them like they're a piece of paper.
He could do whatever he wanted. He could do whatever he wanted.
He would wind it like this. He would wind it like this as he's going towards. He's winding it like this. Yeah. And you still can't sit on it.
Yeah.
And then if you try to sit on it, he go up like this. And so you sit down on it, he'll pull it out and swim you with it.
Yep.
Yeah. It was like slow motion. Be like, no.
Yeah.
And you still can't stop it.
Bro, he did like this. He came over me like this, and he ripped it on it. He's about to torque me like this, and I grabbed onto his arm. And you can literally see him picking me up. My feet were flying in the air.
Dude. Rob, you never seen the video?
Oh, I've seen it. Yeah, I've seen it.
I was gonna say,
I was flying in the air, and I was holding on to his arm. I had about 5 flags hit me. Boom, boom, boom.
Yeah,
the flags would hit me. You know what I'm saying? So I got back to the huddle. My quarterback turns around and said, I think it was either Ty or Coy. Ty was said, "Hey, I appreciate that, B. Brooks."
Yeah, he was
still about to lay him out. Yeah,
he was still. I never you could play him on the nose. You could play him
anywhere.
D tackle, D. It didn't matter what he could dominate any position he played.
And you just don't make him mad.
No,
you just don't make him mad. We were beating him one time. I hate to tell another story, but I got to, man. We playing him in Philadelphia, and we kept running a rock on him. So in the third quarter, we were up like 26 something. It was an easy game because all I was doing was run blocking. I was run blocking. And the Gravedigger got tired. Big Gilbert Brown, he was tired. The rest of the defensive line was tired. John Gilbert, all those guys were tired, you know what I'm saying, because we kept running the ball on them. And then we had this guard, my right guard. His name was Jerry Kraft. Now, Jerry Kraft was 6'7", about 360, 370 pounds. He played in Green Bay the year before.
Jeez, man.
So he's mouthing off of Reggie. Oh, he's kicking your ass. What are you doing? I'm like, yo, dog, you're not playing against him. Be quiet. Leave him alone. Let a sleeping dog lie.
Right, exactly.
He's running the rock.
Why would you mess with Reggie?
Right. So, long story long, Reggie gets tired of it. He gets tired of it. So he's okay then, Jerry. Okay, I got you, Jerry. So we go to the huddle. All of a sudden, they call a call. We didn't run about all day, but what do they call?
Oh, no.
2-jet all go.
Oh.
A 7-step drop.
Oh.
All go means they got to run all the way down the field. We got to block for dear life.
Oh, no.
So I'm like, oh, my God, I line up. Jerry Jerry said, yeah, he kicked. He turned around and said, okay, Jerry, I'll kick Jerry. Hey, Big Gilbert, you come on out here. I'm coming in the 3 technique. And he goes down the 3 technique. He said, Jerry, I'm coming. Jerry, I'm coming, Jerry, and I'm bringing the Lord with me, bruh. As soon as quarterback said "hut," I stood up in my stance. And I turned around like this, and I looked at Jerry. Gilbert Brown stood up too and was looking just like I was looking. He came, he picked Jerry up like this and ran with him for about 5 steps and threw him into Rodney Pete. Rodney Pete on the ground like this. I bet you shut the hell up now, Jerry. Threw him on top of him. I'm like, yo, I'm glad he wasn't mad at me. I'm so glad he wasn't mad at me.
He was a different cat, man, Reggie. He was built. He was just
Lord with me. I was like, woo. So yeah,
that's awesome.
Shame he died at such a young age, man.
Tragic.
From sleep apnea, man. That's why I wear my mask every night. Good. I know it's not the most attractive thing in the world. Hey, wifey's just gonna have to she's just used to it now. Mm-hmm. But I look like Darth Vader, you know what I'm saying?
Like your shirt. You look like your shirt. Yeah.
It don't matter, but I wear it, bro, because I'm trying to be here, man.
Good,
I don't play around with it. Bro.
Great stories, man.
That's awesome, dude.
Those are awesome. Those are awesome.
Oh, my goodness.
Hey, by the way, what a show today. I haven't even gotten to that yet.
Right.
We got Kyle Neptune, who's the new head coach at Villanova, taking over for Jay Wright. He's joining us at 12:30. Oh, man, there's a lot to dig into there.
Wow.
He was Jay's right-hand man for a long time during national championships, you name it. Yeah. And then at 1 o'clock, Tom McCarthy. Phillies with a spectacular come-from-behind win last night.
Great game.
It was a fun baseball game, wasn't it? Yeah. It was a really good
drama
baseball.
field.
Great
and this
pitching.
dude Alcantara, I'll get into that later. But
yeah,
I sat there and watched Alcantara, just like amazed, like it was the first baseball game I'd ever seen. And I'll tell you why later. But
okay. And he was and Nola was dealing too. They were both really good.
Woo.
Really good. So T-Mac at 1, and then 2 o'clock, our old friend Brian Mitchell. Brian Mitchell had the I was talking to Xander about this before the show, our producer. How many guys have actually played for the Eagles at that time, the Redskins and Giants? I mean, 3 out of the 4 teams in the division. That is rare.
And that is rare.
This dude knows the NFC East. So we got a lot to talk to about him, because today Ron Rivera met with the media and he said that Jack Del Rio addressed the team. So we'll get into that and all the circus that goes along with Washington. We will hit all that stuff. But we're loaded today, man. This is going to be fun. It's going to be a lot of fun. By the way, later in the week on Thursday, Trey Burton, former Eagles tight end, part of the Philly special, is going to be joining us. And tomorrow, Jeff McClain. So we are stacked, fellas. We are stacked for the next couple of days.
That's what we do. That's what we do on this.
That's how we roll. All right, so let's hit headliners real quick. We mentioned Phillies win 3-2. We'll dive deeper into that with T-Mac, but it was a fun game last night for sure, no doubt about it. The Warriors. How about this, guys? Warriors win, and Steph Curry's streak of hitting a 3 gets snapped at 233 games. He was 0 for 9 from beyond the arc last night, and they still won by 10 points.
Bro, he only had 16 points.
I know. He was not himself.
I just got to say no mas, man. There's no way that I could be a real analyst and say that the Celtics have any chance now, because experience is taking over. You could tell how young they are in their decision makings on how to go out there and play this game, man. Yeah. They played an absolute horrible game fundamentally. Fundamentally, they were just bad. I mean, taking bad shots. You drop all the way to the basket and you kick it out.
But here's what shocked me, B. Brooks. Golden State beat Boston in the first half, beat Boston at their own game. Defense.
Yes.
I never thought Golden State was strong enough to beat Boston at their own game. And you have to remember also, there's only a small core group of players left from Golden State's glory days. I mean, most of these kids playing with Golden State now have not been in this position before.
Yes, you're right.
Yeah, it's basically their big 3 is still there. Draymond, Steph, and Clay, essentially.
Draymond's basically been a ghost, except he showed up last night.
He showed up last night. He did foul out eventually, but he did show up last night. But I tell you, Andrew Wiggins, man. Wiggins looks like that guy who was taken first, whatever it was, 2014, whenever it was, in the Embiid draft. He's been that guy.
And Brown and those guys played so small.
Oh my goodness.
Oh yeah, they did. And how about the amount of missed free throws from the Celtics too?
Oh my goodness, dude.
Terrible.
That was one of their strong suits
in the first half. Yeah,
that was a strong suit for that team. But
that was bad.
But we'll give no more of that. There's so many different areas that cover in that game. It's crazy how this whole. Do you know? And I'll throw this out there. Do you know every game in this series has been decided by 10 points or more?
Right.
So that's the theme of the whole playoffs, Gunner. There have been so many,
Yeah.
like the whole year. It feels like that.
It's unbelievable.
Playoff season. Yeah. Hey, I want to give a little love out to a friend of all of ours. Our buddy Al Morgani was inducted into the hockey, or be selected to go into the Hockey Hall of Fame.
Wow.
Yeah.
So good for Al, man.
Long overdue.
I'll try and get Al on later in the week, but Al is as good a dude as you're going to be around.
Exactly.
No question. He calls me Iron Man, not because I'm a superhero, because every time he comes into the office when he does Flyers pre and post game show, I'm always ironing my shirt. So he calls me Iron Man. Remember,
you are great. You always used to do. Every morning before
morning.
Breakfast on Broad, Barrett would have his ironing board out and he'd be ironing all his shirts.
But see, here's the thing. As I've tried to groom Barrett along the way, or in his infancy stage, I would always tell him, "Why are you ironing a short shirt here at work? Why don't you do it at home like I do?" Like, here's what I do. I always lay my clothes out the night before. I have all my stuff ironed because you never know when a story could break.
Right.
You got to run to the last minute. If you iron, especially the way I iron. My wife always tells a story how I send all my stuff to dry cleaning.
Yeah.
When it comes home, I re-iron my shirts.
After dry cleaning?
After dry cleaning. Because they put those kamikaze, creases in the shoulder, and your shoulder stands up a little bit, and they put creases in certain spots I don't like. So I re-iron my shirt before I wear it.
Wow.
And I lay all my stuff out the night before, and I try to get Barrett in. I said, "Why don't you prepare your stuff the day before instead of the day of?"
I do prepare myself. I do prepare. I get all my stuff. Like I have my shirt. I have my shirt ready for work today. I just don't iron it because I like to iron when I get to work.
Why?
It relaxes.
I don't know. It's just what I do.
It puts them in a zone. Whatever works.
But as I'm saying, if it's a breaking story and we need you on the set in 2 minutes. Well, I need 10 because I'm ironing my shirt. It doesn't work that way.
Well, Derek, like you said, see,
that's a good one. 91.
Right.
Yeah.
No,
that's true.
No, I do keep. You always told me I keep 2 shirts in reserve, and 2 suit jackets in that closet
at all
right
times.
there.
Always.
At all times. They're all ironed up in there. All I got to do is slip them on.
I always have like a pair, either shorts or sweats or pants too, in the trunk of the car, just in case.
Always, I did too.
Spill something, or you get soaked in the rain, or whatever.
Or you spill your coffee.
Or you spill your coffee. Like
I wasn't there for that though, man.
It was me. For some reason, the segment, you must have been off, and maybe Sarah was off. It was me, Jillian, and Mike Missinelli.
Right.
I was next to Jillian, and Mike was on the other side of me. I think Jillian was to my left, and Mike was to my right. I think that's the way it played.
Oh wow!
It was crazy. It was a crazy day. Yeah. So that was the coffee day. For sure. That was all over the place that day. So not only Al goes in, guys, Bill Clement, who's another really good dude. Bill Clement, former Flyers broadcaster.
He was already in.
No.
Wow.
Bill was Barrett. He was a good player. He wasn't a great player. And Bill would tell you this. I'm not, this is not knocking the guy, but he was a solid player, and he was on the 74, 75 teams that won it. But he was a legendary broadcaster, ESPN for Prism back in the day. If you guys remember Prism.
Oh yeah.
And then for ESPN, and then back here locally, that's, Bill is, you ever sit down and just have a conversation? Bill's a deep dude. He's a smart dude. Like I leave those conversations like I am a moron when I come out of a conversation with him. He is well versed in everything.
I wish I had his voice.
Yes.
You always talk about how there's people that have a TV voice and then a regular voice. His regular voice is his TV voice.
Yeah.
I can just say, well, Derek, he talks like this all the time, and is very thorough on what
you're right.
Says.
He's got a deep timbre, but he also enunciates everything beautifully.
Yes.
He's one of those guys when he walks in, he says something. It's just it just like reverberates through the office.
Yeah, absolutely. He's a presence guy. He's a presence guy.
Well, hello, Barrett. How are you today?
Yeah. No
hello, Gunner. And you look around like, oh, Oh,
like Darth Vader speaking.
Right.
Is James Earl Jones in here? What happened?
Right, exactly. One of those type of voices. Yeah,
He
exactly.
does.
One of those
He
type of
does.
voices.
You just
so
want to make sure a voice hasn't spoken for you from heaven, man, because you're thinking, oh my goodness, where'd that come from?
Yeah, you're right. Is it my time? Is it my time?
Not now.
Not
Please,
yet.
not now.
Not right yet. At least let me get through today's show. Yeah. Yeah, so they both won. And Al, it was cool. Al got surprised on the air today.
Good for him. Good for him.
It was very cool.
Good.
So
I wish I had one of those type of. I mean, I have a voice that people recognize. Like one time, I was on the phone. I was taking an order from my daughter. I was in the inside the grocery store. She wanted something, and I'm talking to her. What, China? All right, China. What do you want, China? And this lady comes from around the corner. Is that Mr. Brooks? Is Barrett Brooks? I knew that was you. I hear your voice all the time. I got to go in the other room because my husband listens to you while you're on TV all the time. And I get tired of, I'm like, thanks. I appreciate, thank you.
That's the one you're like, thank you?
Yeah, exactly.
What happened to me a couple of weeks ago, I'm at Lowe's buying something to fix around the house. And I walk out of Lowe's and I hear a woman's
broadcast voice, everybody. That's the broadcast voice.
You know, whatever. I hear this woman's voice behind me. Excuse me. But I'm walking to my car, so I'm not even paying attention. And I can hear her, running up on me. Excuse me. So I turn around. Yes. She holds up her phone. Is this you? And it's one of my bio pictures. And so when people, you're right. People hear your voice. They stop and look at you. But a lot of times I just keep walking to see what will happen. So I look at her, and one of my standard lines is, she goes, is this you? And I said, well, do I owe you money? She goes, like, what? I do that all the time. My wife goes, that is so corny. Would you stop that, please? I said, no. That's
a good line. That's a good line.
Do I owe you money?
Yeah,
if she look at you, or either I'll say, I'm sorry, but that guy, I've seen him on America's Most Wanted, but I don't, that's not me, right? And they look at you puzzled. So finally I break that. Yes, ma'am, it's me. She goes, my husband thought it was you, but he was afraid to approach you. And I said, so your husband sent you out here to track me? And she just started laughing. But I love meeting people like that.
It's great. It's the best. Right. It's the best. That's why we do what we do, man. That's for sure. All right, let's get a quick time out here, guys. We come back.
Already?
Yeah, man.
We just started, man.
I know. Well, strap in. We got 2.5 more hours, brother. Pace yourself. So we got Kyle Neptune coming up. Villanova basketball head coach will be next. 1 o'clock, Tom McCarthy. 2 o'clock, Brian Mitchell. Don't go anywhere. Spread the word. Tell a friend. Hit the like button. Derek Gunn, Barrett Brooks, Rob Ellis. We are Sports Take, JAKIB Sports YouTube Network. All right, let me tell you about Station Tap Catering in Drexel Hill, because they will handle your next business function with ease while you focus on securing a new opportunity for your company. They have 50 years of experience in food preparation. Station Tap Catering will impress, and your guests will be impressed. Station Tap Catering provides delicious food for private events, corporate functions, individual package meals for your next tailgate, you name it. Look, I will tell you this. In terms of quality of food, diversity of food, and price, you won't find a better place. Trust me when I tell you this. I have sampled the cuisine many a time, and it's the perfect time, by the way, with tailgates, whether you're going down to a Phillies game, you got the Eagles game coming up, or look, you're looking to have a banquet for your little league team, your baseball team just ended. They can handle the catering as well at Station Tap Catering in Drexel Hill. Give them a call, 484-469-3222, or go to stationtapcatering.com. That's stationtapcatering.com.
Go for the polls and the pools. Go for the oohs and the ahs. Go for the bubbles and the bubbly. Go for the story and the stories. Go for the win. Go to Ocean Casino Resort. Book your trip at theoceanac.com.
Field of life, First Trust Bank is there for you.
Champions on 3. 1, 2, 3.
Because Philadelphia dreams deserve a Philadelphia bank.
At Stateside Vodka, every new customer gets the world's best rocks glass, free.
You're telling me that bottle is cut in half?
You could say that.
Action News, we cherish every moment, and it's our profound responsibility to bring you closer to your world. Never miss a moment. Trust the people at Action News.
All right, did you know I was the Mommy Slam Dunk Champion?
Really?
Yes, really, don't sound so surprised.
Let's see it.
Oh, you're ready. All right, here we go. Let's hear the crowd. So go to right, I go to left, fake 'em out. Mama, go up,
She did it.
Again? You can't avoid gravity, but United Healthcare can help you avoid financial surprises by helping you compare costs and doctor quality ratings. United Healthcare.
Uh-huh. Go for the midnight dares. Go for the game. Go for the hits. Go for the fans. Go for the win. Go to Ocean Casino Resort. Book your trip at theoceanac.com.
What's up, everybody? Happy Tuesday. Man, almost mid-June, guys. June 14th. Unbelievable how quickly this month is going. That's for sure. Derek Gunn, Barrett Brooks, Rob Ellis. We are Sports Take, JAKIB Sports YouTube Network. We're going to be joined shortly. Kyle Neptune just wrapping up a meeting on campus at Villanova. He'll be joining us shortly. Tom McCarthy talks some Phillies with that comeback win last night with the game winner from Reese Hoskins. He'll be joining us at 1 o'clock, and then 2 o'clock. B. Mitch, guys, we were talking yesterday how badly the Eagles need a return game. You rewind the clock and just drop Ryan Mitchell onto this team. It looked pretty good. Jeez.
We played together, man. Me and B. Mitch played together, man. I'm talking about a guy, man. He was always the life of the party. You know, always the life of the party. He kept things going.
He was unique in that a lot of kick and punt returners are sort of scat guys who want to make moves, make people miss. Brian Mitchell was a lot of brute force.
Right. He was running. Yeah, exactly. You
know,
he wasn't a blazer, but he would just find a way to always, you would never catch him, but he still wasn't a blazer. You know, so I never understood that. And plus, he's one of those guys who could do everything. He played quarterback one day.
He played quarterback in college.
Right.
You know, he was a converted quarterback. Yeah, he did in the body bag game. He had to step in and play quarterback for Washington.
That's right.
So, yeah, it's crazy. So he's going to be joining us at 2 o'clock. A lot to get into with the NFC East with him. Later in the show, one of the Eagles subjects that we're going to talk about today, which I thought was cool. Barrett floated this yesterday. Guys playing with chips on their shoulders. And, you know, when you sit back and think about it, it's a pretty long list. Like guys who were doubted, guys who were, this is his last year as an Eagle, or this guy shouldn't even be an Eagle, or how bad is the safety situation, whatever. You could apply that to a lot of different guys on this team. Fletcher Cox, I think, you know, it could apply to as well. So
James Bradbury, you know.
How about TJ Edwards, kind of overlooked right now because of all the additions they made at linebacker?
Him and Davion Taylor. How about Sean Bradley was a special teams guru?
Yeah.
And he, you know, most likely he doesn't fit in the number count of what they're trying to do on the defensive side of the ball.
How about
I'd
Jalen
hate
Hurts?
to see him go, man. I would hate to see Sean Bradley go.
Yeah,
but I hear you. I hear you.
Yeah, what about Jalen Hurts? Nobody has a bigger chip.
Yeah.
Oh, look, exactly.
I mean, think about it. He's really had, since his sophomore year in college, he's had a chip on his shoulder. Since he was benched in that championship game, he's had a chip, and rightfully so. I mean, he starts as a freshman, starts as a sophomore, gets benched at halftime of the national championship game in his sophomore year, and then comes back junior year when Tua gets hurt in the SEC championship game.
Brings him back.
It brings him back. And then he leaves, goes to Oklahoma and puts up record numbers at Oklahoma. A second rounder, you know, written off, and here we are. Yeah, he's a great example of that. There's no doubt about that. So
you got guys like Miles Sanders, you know. I mean, there's so many guys, man, you know, that have chips on, man. So that's going to be an interesting segment, man, because when you break it down, kind of the same thing what we saw in 2017. I mean, I'm not saying it's, you know, Super Bowl year, but you had guys like Timmy Jernigan, Alshon Jeffries, all these guys coming in with prove-it type of deals, you know what I'm saying, that had to go out there and accomplish what they had to accomplish, man.
Yeah,
I have a chip on my shoulder every day dealing with you two.
Right.
Two chips.
You about LeGarrette Blunt?
Man.
One's Barrett, one's Rob. You have
Good angel, bad angel.
Exactly.
Take your pick.
Boulders on your shoulder.
I'm telling you, man.
Yeah, but I'll tell you the other one, Chris Long, because in this sense, he left New England, who had won a Super Bowl, because he didn't feel like he was being utilized the right way. Like that's a ballsy kind of move, because New England wanted him back.
Yep,
exactly.
You were dead.
So a lot of guys, All right,
Garrett Blunt.
Yeah, no doubt. Xander, do me a favor. Pull up.
Ajayi.
Yeah, that's a good one too. Pull up the weatherman for me, Xander, if you can get me that clip. Now, I want to play this for you guys because it's very short and sweet. You got to be ready for it because this is not a long one. Okay, this is a hit and run, as we say. So this is I'll give you a little background. The guy's name is Ethan Bird. And he's a weather/sports anchor in the Alabama, Mississippi area at WTOK. Have you guys ever heard of TOK?
Talk.
Never heard of no. Never heard of that.
All right. So you're saying to yourself, why are you pulling up a clip of this dude doing weather in Alabama? All right. Well, just take a listen. Here it is. Quick.
And now we look at our 10-day forecast. It's looking a little bit like those Dallas Cowboys is peaking in the 90s. But now we look at our 10
Dude, how great is that guy?
That's awesome.
Day forecast is looking a little bit
they were
like those Dallas Cowboys is peaking
awesome.
in the 90s. But now we look at our 10.
That guy.
That's awesome. I love it.
Just out of nowhere, boom, little Cowboy zing.
Right. Just little
roundhouse right.
I need to dig into his background a little bit more and find out where he must be from. I don't know, Philly or somewhere where they hate the Cowboys. I don't know.
Out of all places, Alabama taking a shot of 32 teams in the league. He takes that shot at the Cowboys. But you know what? It was an appropriate shot.
Right. You know what's funny? Right. I guarantee you he has a news director or the guy who was producing the show that day who had no idea what that reference meant. You know what I mean? They were like,
exactly
90s. What is he Cowboys? What is he talking about? You know, that dude's a rock star, man. He's getting a lot of love around the country. So pretty funny there. I thought that was it. I thought you guys would enjoy that one. I was saving that.
No question. That was pretty good. Good.
So we're going to be in a little bit joined by Kyle Neptune. I in digging around a little bit today, guys, getting ready for his interview. I didn't realize this. So since 1936. Okay, so we're going back, 86 years, if my math is correct, which rarely ever is. If you had to guess how many coaches Villanova has had since 1936, what would your guess be? Just take a wild guess.
I'd say 15.
Okay, 15. 86 years, 15. Barrett?
I'm going to say right around, I'm about 15 also.
All right, 15. So they've had 6.
What?
6 in 86
sound like the
years.
Steelers.
Yeah, it does. That's the first. Barrett. It's the first thing I thought it was the Steelers.
Wow.
They've had 6 since 1936. They've had Al Severance was there for like 25 years in 1936.
Wow.
Rolly Massimino did 20 years. Steve Lapis did 10 years. Jay Wright did 20 or 21. I mean, it adds up. But
Jay Wright did 21 years.
Yep.
Yeah, I think he took over. It's 20 or 21. Maybe it's 22. He took over in 01, I think, or something like that. Yeah, it's crazy. But that's how long it's been, man. It's how many they've only had. But it is. The Steelers have had 3 since 69. Chuck Noll, Cowher, who Barrett had as his head coach, and then, of course, Mike Tomlin taking over the last.
That's unheard of, man. Unheard of. And during the tenure when I was with the Steelers, throughout the existence of the Steelers, there was at that time was only like 670 Pittsburgh Steelers to ever play there. So, right? They don't just keep there. They don't just keep recycling guys. When they draft somebody, they give them every means to make the squad and be a productive player. They believe in cultivating their own talent, man. Something we need to do here in Philly, not just in basketball, but especially in baseball. How about we get a farm league that we can use as opposed to going out and getting free agents all the time?
That's a great point, man. I mean, you think about it. Bryce Harper is on his 3rd manager. Right. And what's Bryce Harper in? Is he in his 3rd year? Is that right?
I think it's 4th year, isn't it?
4th year.
With the Phillies?
Yeah.
Is this his 3rd?
Is it his 3rd?
Let's see. I'll tell you in 1 second. But yeah, I mean, the point is there's been way too much turnover here, right? And he's seen multiple general managers you know, it's not good. It's
Well,
not a good thing.
Wasn't that 08 team made from, you know, all those guys, Jimmy and all those guys?
This is his fourth year, FYI. 19 was his first year here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But Jimmy Rollins, all those guys, you know, came up from the same, you know, came up from the farm league. You know, those guys are brought through the system. They were brought in as free agents. They were brought up through the system, weren't they?
Yep. No, 100%. The core of that team was Rollins, Utley, Howard, Ruiz, Burrell, Hamels. Victorino was a Rule 5 guy, so he kind of came up through the system. But, I mean, you're talking about the absolute core of that team were all through the farm system, including the relief. I didn't even get the relievers, Madsen and, you know, all those guys. But,
that's exactly what, you know, and it's funny what, you know, we're talking about this, you know what I'm saying? Because, you know, I'm looking at, you know, at Neptune and the guys that he coached while he was there.
Oh,
look how many guys you know, there's no one and dones there. Not many there's not many one and dones at all. But the majority of guys that made those championship teams work were 3-year guys.
Absolutely.
4-year
guys. Absolutely.
Archie Diacono, all those type of guys. Mikael Bridges, all those guys were, you know, their third and fourth year.
Yeah.
Under Villanova. That's unheard of these days. Especially
I mean, you just the list of guys that he coached that are in the NBA now: Mikael Bridges, Jalen Brunson, Dante DiVincenzo, Eric Pascal, Josh Hart, Ryan
DiVincenzo, Hart. That's right.
I mean, it is now. Not a lot of those guys are superstars, but they're glue guys. They are absolute guys that you need in your league, on your team. They're the kind of guys that you just need to win.
The guys we're missing from our 76ers team.
Precisely.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I agree with you 100%, Barrett. You know, the ironic part is Mikael Bridges was a Sixer.
Yes.
For 5 minutes till they traded him.
Right. I'm still pissed off because it was crazy. But, you know, and that was my boy's son. You know what I'm saying? That was my boy's son.
Were they buddies?
No, not Bridges. But what's the guy? Smith, my boy Billy Ray Smith. That was his son that they traded for him.
Oh, yes. God Almighty.
Billy Ray's son, man.
I know you know. Yeah, the kid out of Texas Tech. Now I can't believe I'm drawing a blank. I was just talking about him last night. Yeah, absolutely.
Me and his father played together at Kansas State. You know, he played basketball. Billy Ray played basketball. Still had a year left and didn't want to play basketball anymore. Came out for the football team, and I was trying to walk him through things, you know, trying to get him ready. You know, he played defensive end. Of course, I had to put it on him, but
Zaire. Thank you, Anthony.
Thank you, Jabari. How could you forget Zaire?
Yeah,
I used to say it.
Getting a lot of Zaires here. Yes,
Zaire.
Good work out of the guys. Yeah. So that was one of the all-time mistakes because look, here's the thing, man. They at that period of time, not to get into a whole Sixers discussion here, but they were in between general managers. You remember the Colangelo thing blew up and the burner gate and all that stuff that took place. Brett Brown was the GM when that happened. So they drafted Mikael Bridges, and then they traded him for Zaire Smith, who hasn't played a minute in the NBA since. Brett Brown should have never been a GM of a team.
Right.
There was just so much dysfunction during that time, man. It's unbelievable. It was unbelievable. It was a mess. But
bro, I never understood any of that, man, because I mean, you got the social media king, I mean, they were virtually made to bring that GM in. The Sixers had to bring him in by Adam Silver. Made him bring him in.
Yeah, first he brought their daddy in. He brought in Jerry, and then Jerry recused himself from the interview process. And magically, Brian was the one chosen, even though Jerry had nothing to do with it.
Right.
Give me a break. It was nepotism at its best, or its worst, if you will.
Right.
Yeah.
I didn't understand that, man. The whole thing, you know what I'm saying? And it was his wife and everything. And then the process was supposed to be the end of the process during it. Dude, that was just a cluster.
It was a cluster.
Of just bad
decision after bad decision.
Right.
Amen.
You know what I'm saying? It was just snowballing. You know what I'm saying? It couldn't stop.
Question. And it was in a time where you had to get everything right. I mean, so when that happens, they trade away. They have first of all, the year before they draft Fultz. which turns out to be a total disaster. Then they trade away Michael Bridges for Zaire Smith. I mean, we could go on and on and on. Before that, they drafted, Okafor, who was a disaster.
Nerlens Noel.
Yeah, it was a lot of mistakes. That's why you can do anything. You can sit there and lose on purpose to set yourself up for draft picks. But the second part of that equation is you got to execute the picks.
Well,
and they didn't.
I don't understand. Like Okafor at the time. Really, I mean, you just it didn't make sense to pick him up because that's where the transition from big man's game into the high flying 3-point shooters was starting to become what was the new trend. Everybody was shooting threes and we still went and got Okafor. I really didn't understand that. I didn't understand going to get the kid from Kentucky either. Goofy Bambi, what was his name? The kid from Kentucky.
Oh,
all he did was rebound. He horrible.
Well, Nerlens Noel.
Nerlens Noel, yeah.
What was he? Well, so at that point, Hinkie is doing the asset thing, which is I don't care what the position is. I'm just going to keep drafting guys because I'll eventually trade them, and none of it worked. I mean, we don't to relitigate all that stuff, but it was
Nerlens, Okafor. I mean, that was ridiculous.
Yeah, it was a mess. And
who's the guard? Who's the guard down in Orlando now? Is it for
Fultz, Markelle Fultz.
Markelle Fultz,
yeah. That was the
Michael. What was the name? Michael
Carter Williams.
Michael Carter Williams.
He was traded. He got Rookie of the Year, and then he was dealt. So we're gonna have Kyle Neptune shortly. Xander, just let me know when he's good to go. You give me a thumbs up in the private chat, and we'll roll. Looks like Coach Neptune is seated and going to be joining us momentarily. So we're looking forward to talking to him. He was busy in some meetings a little bit earlier, but should be a lot of fun to talk to Coach. He's going to be joining us shortly as Villanova gets set for their 2022-23 season with some familiar faces coming back for sure. But some big names, like Colin Gillespie departing. So it should be interesting to see how it shakes out this year for the Cats, that's for sure. All right, I think he is he's ready to go. So let's bring him up. And there he is. Coach Kyle Neptune.
How we doing?
Good.
How are you doing today?
Yeah.
Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
Our pleasure. I'll tell you one thing, Kyle, that was really interesting. We were just talking about this before you hopped on. I looked at this when I was just kind of doing some research on you. Villanova's had 6 head coaches since 1936. That is crazy, man.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
That's some job security, Coach. Damn good job security.
Hey, if you can go, push those same sentiments to Mark Jackson, our athletic director and our president, I greatly appreciate that.
So we'll be basically what that means is we'll be talking to you in 2042 about your upcoming season. So
I would not mind that. I would not mind that.
Just answer the phone, Coach Neptune. When my grandson, gets up to age, my grand, hey, go talk to Coach. I know him personally. Go talk to him.
Great. Man. Sign up for that right now.
Right. Hey, Coach, I got to ask you this right off the top. Now, you had a long tenure with Jay Wright as an assistant coach. You go to Fordham. So when they present you with the offer, how long did you sit and think about it before you said, I'm interested? Because and I mean, the common response is, man, do I want to follow Jay Wright? Let me think about this for a second. How long did you really think about it?
You know what? I think it was all of maybe a millisecond. I really pondered and really, thought about all that stuff for maybe actually a half a millisecond. And then I was all in. So that was
Was there ever, and look, you worked at the foot of the master for a long time here with Jay. He was just the man. There's no doubt. And your college coach as well. I know there was a lot of influences that you had over the course of your career. But was there ever that moment damn, this dude's in the Hall of Fame and I'm next up? Did that even cross your mind at all, or was it just Villanova has such a special place in your heart?
To be honest, no. Obviously, I would say everyone that has worked for Coach is in awe of him. He does so many things well. Such a good person. You learn so much from him. So, I was definitely in all of them and still am to this day. I always look at him as a mentor, but if I'm being honest, I didn't even really think about the day that he would leave. Obviously, to me, and I think all of us, we looked at him as the best coach in college basketball. Why would he leave in my mind? Right. So I didn't really think about the day of him leaving.
Well, Coach, since we're on that subject, why he left, I really don't know, but I mean, just the landscape of how things are in the new NCAA, as far as being able to coach guys and they can leave when they want to leave, and that wasn't something that I had to deal with when I was playing. Once you were there, you had to stay there, or you had to sit out. Well, these kids can just jump into the portal and leave out, but nobody from your squad jumped in the portal.
Yep.
You guys kept your guys, and can you still establish that same type of mix that you guys had? Because you guys had a nice mix of 3- and 4-year guys that that's almost like dinosaurs these days. For a guy to stay in college for 3 or 4 years, you're going to kind of establish that same kind of thing. Or, I mean, are you good with going to getting the one and dones?
Well, I mean, one thing I will say, I think we've had a reputation at Villanova of being a school that you go to and get a lot better. And I think guys over time come in and they start one place, and when they leave, they're in a completely different place in their games. And I think that's something we take pride in. But I think we have had a string of guys leave early as well. So I think I think Coach has done a really good job here of having both type of guys. Like you look at Dante DiVincenzo leaving after 2 years. You look at Sadiq Bey leaving after 2 years. Amari Spellman only played 1 year. Jalen Brunson played 3. Mikal Bridges played 3. So there's been guys who've done it without spending the 4 years. And then I think we take just as much pride in the guys that did spend the 4 years, and Josh Hart's, and we're wishing I'm thinking about another one, Jeremiah Robinson Earl only did 2 years, but and I think we take just as much pride in the guys that spend the full time. And a guy like Colin Gillespie, I think he's doing well. He's working out right now. We think he has a great chance to get drafted. And Jermaine Samuels, I truly believe that he'll make a team this year. And we've had guys over, Ryan Arcidiacono spent 4 years and made teams. So I think we've actually had both type of guys. But I think that the consistent is that guys have gotten better during their time here.
Guy, let me ask you, you did a phenomenal job of not only keeping the guys on the roster, but also your heavy hitter recruits all staying. Was that something, obviously you're euphoric when you get the gig and you're grateful and all those things, but then I guess your first thought has got to be maintaining those guys and keeping those guys around. How quickly do you start reaching out to all those guys after that?
Right away, the very second, I got the job. That was obviously the most important thing was keeping the guys that were in the program. I think the next most important thing was making sure that the recruits felt comfortable as well. And if I'm going to be honest, you really got to give our staff credit, who's been here for a long time. And, George Halkovich, Mike Nardi, Dwayne Anderson, those guys are really the guys who kept all this stuff together. And obviously Coach Wright as well with his mentorship. And the other piece is that Coach is actually not leaving the university. That's the last piece. He's agreed to stay and be around. So if I'm being honest, it didn't have much to do with me. I think our assistants did a good job. They tried to convince him that I was just as good looking as Coach, and I'm just. You
gotta get your suit game going, Coach.
I don't know how much of that is true, but I really give our assistants a lot of credit. For holding this thing together.
Okay, so Coach, so what was your selling point? I mean, I'm assuming you've met with the core group of players coming back. You obviously have had some kind of interaction with the recruits that you're able to keep. What is your selling point in terms of maybe establishing a foundation with existing and players coming in terms of, look, I'm not Jay Wright, but this is what I am?
I think Villanova basketball's over the last couple of years has meant something. And, just how players come in and, go through the process and go through their time here. And then those players leave and leave it to new freshmen to come in and learn and do the same thing and keep the program in under solid ground. I think that's the new challenge here for our staff. Coach has gotten this place, Rolly Massimino is here. Had incredible success, and other coaches have had great success there as well. Obviously, Coach Wright has had the most success, and I think the challenge now is to hold what Coach has done, hold the culture together, and we're now the younger generation, and it will probably be a little different, but the goal is to keep it. Keep the bones intact and keep the culture strong.
Always hear your players, and Colin in particular, use the phrase "play Villanova basketball." What does that mean?
I think, in essence, I think a Villanova basketball player looks at college basketball like they're a part of something bigger than themselves. And if you could probably go into a much longer conversation about it, but I think in essence that's what it is. And I think our players have had a really unique mindset, and I think they truly believe that if they give of themselves for the good of the unit, in the end they'll get what they want. And it's been true for most of our guys that have come through here. So yeah.
Hey, Coach, is your suit game as strong as Jay's?
No, listen, absolutely not, considering he's the one who bought me half of my suits. There's no way I could say that.
I think you need to go back to the suit, even though everybody's gone sweatsuit now. Yeah. You need to go back in an homage to Jay, and just to tell everybody, there's a new kid in town here. Let's go suit this year, Kyle.
Hey, everything's on the table. I'm not saying that we're not. I'm not saying we are. We don't know yet. So,
Coach,
go ahead, Jay. Go.
How are you going to still lock down and solidify the big five here in Philadelphia? As far as recruiting and things like that. What's your game plan of just making sure you attack those and going outside of Philadelphia?
Well, obviously, we're really lucky to be part of the Philadelphia basketball community. It's one of the best in the country, I think, high school basketball. So, obviously, we'll continue to recruit Philadelphia and the Northeast in general. But we always look for guys everywhere. And we're looking for a specific type of player, and wherever that we find that, we're willing to recruit them.
Well, Coach, we know you're up against it a little bit. You got meetings all day today. We appreciate you giving us a couple
minutes
here.
Man. Good luck.
Definitely appreciate it.
Can't wait to watch your first year, man. We wish you all the best. We really do.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me.
Hopefully we get you back on again.
And you need somebody to come help you guys in the post. I can beat them up a little bit.
Don't listen to it.
Can you get us a few tickets to a big game?
Oh, you are pathetic.
I gotta ask.
Oh my God.
No promises on that one. No,
man. I'm embarrassed. I'm embarrassed for him. Okay. All right.
Yeah, but if you pulled it off, you'd be right there with us.
I agree with you, Coach Kyle Neptune. Thanks. Appreciate it. Thanks for a couple minutes.
Thanks, Coach.
All right. Let's get a quick timeout. We'll recap some of the things that Coach Neptune had to say. When we come back, man, another big time win for the Fightin' Phils, and someone who knows a little something about college basketball, not to mention the NFL as well. The man himself, Tom McCarthy, will join us when we get back. Let's get a quick timeout. D. Gunn, B. Brooks, R. Ellis. We are Sports Take, JAKIB Sports YouTube Network.
Go for the pulls and the pools. Go for the oohs and the ahs. Go for the bubbles and the bubbly. Go for the story and the stories. Go for the win. Go to Ocean Casino Resort. Book your trip at theoceanac.com.
Field of life, First Trust Bank is there for you.
Champions on 3. 1, 2, 3.
Because Philadelphia dreams deserve a Philadelphia bank.
At Stateside Vodka, every new customer gets the world's best rocks glass, free.
You're telling me that bottle is cut in half?
You could say that.
At Action News, we cherish every moment, and it's our profound responsibility to bring you closer to your world. Never miss a moment. Trust the people at Action News.
All right, did you know I was the mommy slam dunk champion?
Really?
Yes, really don't sound so surprised.
Let's see it.
Oh, you're ready. All right, here we go. Let's hear the crowd. So go to right, I go to left, I fake a mom. Mama go up, mama!
She did it.
Again? You can't avoid gravity, but United Healthcare can help you avoid financial surprises by helping you compare costs and doctor quality ratings. United Healthcare.
Uh-huh. Go for the midnight dares. Go for the game. Go for the hits. Go for the fans. Go for the win. Go to Ocean Casino Resort. Book your trip at theoceanac.com.
All right, welcome back, everybody. Sports Tape, JAKIB Sports YouTube Network, Derek Gunn, Barrett Brooks, Rob Ellis. We are rolling today, man, and we keep that momentum going like the Phillies did, picking it right back up last night with the man. He looks like he's sitting out on the deck. Looks like a nice setting for Tom McCarthy.
I am, yeah.
I
am. I'm actually down at OC, getting ready to go to the ballpark, and the sun was out a minute ago, but now it's getting cloudy again.
Yeah, it's kind of a weird day, Tom. I think it's going to get better a little bit later, so we should be fine for the game. In case anybody was
should
worried.
be fine for the game. Yeah, it should be fine
what's
for
the shirt? I see the ABA basketballs on there. What are we rocking?
Kentucky. It's the Kentucky Colonels.
Okay.
Oh.
Yes. So during the pandemic, I was bored, so I would buy all these T-shirts, like these old T-shirts.
Right.
So I wore this one instead of. You guys remember Burger Chef? Barrett, you probably don't, but Burger Chef. Yeah. So I almost wore that one today, but I decided to go with this one.
Hey, Tom, Barrett knows nothing except White Castle. It's really sad. It's really sad.
Come on,
really
man.
Yeah, I actually for a long time was like that with Arby's, Barrett. So that's all I ever knew was Arby's.
We had that at Kansas State. We had that at Arby's at Kansas State, and they had I think there were 60-cent roast beef burgers. I mean, roast beef sandwiches, so they were good.
So how many did you get? How many did you get? Like
20?
Like 15?
Yeah. Because poor starving students, man. You had to make those things stretch. You know what I mean?
Unbelievable.
One of the coldest football games I ever did was a Kansas State game, and I can't remember who they played, but it was so cold. And who was the receiver from Florida? Gosh, what was his name? Real tall kid. He was my partner, but he was from Florida, and he did not know what to do.
Oh, my God. Yeah. You get him out of Gainesville, he's in trouble, Tom.
Oh man, it was funny.
you talking about was it Chris Doering? No, who?
Chris
Doering.
Okay.
Chris Doering. Yeah.
How about that pull?
Too.
But I always love talking to Tom because he's great at all the sports that he does. We just had I know you popped up for the very end of it. We had Kyle Neptune on a second ago.
Yeah, it's great.
It's gonna be interesting, right? It takes over. They've only had 6 coaches since 1936.
That's crazy.
It's crazy, and he's got a really good recruiting class. And I think one of the big things is that he was able to keep all those kids to come in there. I think part of it is that I think Jay did a really good job of massaging the relationships too, which really helped him. But I think he's got – I mean, the one kid he's got that's on the 18U team, I can't remember his name right now, but he's averaging like 23 and 11 in the in the World Games. Like it's he's got some good players coming, and plus he obviously had guys coming back too.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Oh, by the way, before we get into the Phillies and what happened last night, which was phenomenal, and what's been going on, I got to give you props. I texted you after the game on Friday. You guys had Caden Marge on, the little kid who was praying. You remember a couple Sundays ago, guys, when Harper and Stott hit the home run? Okay, the little guy he had the rally hat on, and he's saying his prayers. So it was classic having a kid on, because it's great and it's cute, but you get a lot of yes and no answers out of the kid.
Yeah.
So
a lot of yes and no answers.
Tom and John Kruk did, I thought, a phenomenal job of just my wife and I were watching. She teaches second graders, so she knows of what she speaks. You guys kept trying to ask him yes and no answers. And he started to oblige later, and you started getting some personality out of him. But it was you guys. I said yeoman's work in the tweet, but it was yeoman's work.
It was funny. It was funny. You know, at one point he put his feet up on the chair, and it was like he was relaxing like this. I can't do it. I'm not that flexible. Right. So that's where I was like, all right, I think we got him a little bit here. It was really funny. He was a great kid. You know, normally when we had Bob Crawford on the other day from the Avett brothers, and it was like a 10-pitch inning. Right. So this is 9 men come to the plate in this inning, and he just kept on rolling with it.
Yeah. And Schwarber went yard too, I think, in that inning as well. When you guys had him on, which was pretty cool. So let me ask you, Tom. The simple answer is new manager. Move on from Girardi. It's Thompson, and this is the reason they've turned it around. Take that aside for a second, and we'll dig into that. But if you could if you could just attribute one thing at least other than that to why this has been so good of late, what would it be?
Number 1 and number 2 in the order. That's it. I mean, those guys are getting on base and they're hitting home runs. I mean, Kyle Schwarber and Rhys Hoskins. I mean, the young kids. I think Alex Coffey called it the daycare, Philly daycare. Right. You know, they did a really nice job during the winning streak. But to me, if you go back and look at the numbers, it's Schwarber, Hoskins getting on, so Harper doesn't have to do it all himself. And there's guys for him to drive in. So that to me is the biggest difference in this team right now. I will say, you know, Rob and Joe have known each other forever, and I've known them since they've known each other forever. There is a little different tenor to Rob's, presence that probably has something to do with it. I don't want to underscore that at all, because I still think the world of Joe. But I do think it's 1 and 2 in the order. To me, what they've been able to do, they're basically doing what we anticipated they would do, and I think that's part of the reason why they're having this success.
Hey, Tom. You know, every team has its kryptonite, so to speak. And for the life of me, I can't figure out why the Marlins have always been this thorn in the Philly side. I mean, last night, just from a baseball fan perspective, that was a great game to watch. Great pitching duel, great drama. And luckily the Phillies won that game. But, we were talking about this on the show yesterday, and when I looked up the numbers, the Marlins have always been this team that has been this thorn in the Philly side. And for the life of me, I can't figure it out.
Yeah, I don't think any of us can figure it out. I do think what you saw last night, Sandy Alcantara, I think he and Pablo Lopez, and even Rogers, who's going tonight, who hasn't been great this year, they do have good young pitching. I mean, Alcantara threw 100 in the in the 7th inning yesterday. 100. I think that's part of it. I can't put my finger on it, honestly, Derek. I mean, because there have been games where the bullpen's blown it. Like they had that one game, what was it, last year or the year before, where they had like a 7-run lead in the 6th inning, and they lost the game.
Yeah.
So it's been different. I don't know what it is. I mean, when they were winning, the World Championship in 2008 and the pennant in 2009, prior to that, the Astros were that team, and they weren't good. And the Phillies just couldn't beat the Astros, and it really cost them, I thought, in 2 different years.
Well, let me ask you this. Just looking, looking throughout, the MLB, can Harper went back-to-back being a DH? To me, he's no doubt the most valuable player on our team. Why you don't think he can get the same respect just because he's DHing? I mean, he's done everything you could want besides be out in the outfield.
That's a really good question, Barrett. I hadn't even thought about that because I think that he can get it. So, but you're right. There probably are going to be people that will lay the DH banner on him and maybe not give him the same credence that he had before. But I definitely think he can win the MVP for second year in a row. Now, it's just like last year. I mean, there are guys that he's going to have to battle at the end. And, there may even be somebody let's face it, at this point last year, we weren't considering Bryce an MVP candidate. But it was the second half that did it. So, but I definitely think he can, even though he's DHing, because I think first of all, I think he's embraced the whole DH thing. And I don't think he liked it at the beginning. And I get that. I think he's embraced it, and I think he's understood it. And I don't think this team would be anywhere near where they are with that if he wasn't. If he decided to get his elbow surgery, they wouldn't be here.
Or Tom, if the rules don't change and it's not the universal DH, it's over. I mean, it's over. Let's be real.
Yeah, he'd have his surgery and he'd be rehabbing for next year.
Yeah, and the team would be in big trouble. Let's talk. Yep. He's been here, and usually, let's be real. When you sign not that this happens often, but when you sign a lengthy deal like that for that kind of money, it usually doesn't work out. And I'm knocking on wood as I say this, but I mean, it's amazing what he's done since he's gotten here. Not only has he performed, the connection with the fan base, despite some tough years. I mean, let's be real. Where I never bought he's pandering. I think he really genuinely enjoys it. The whole fanatic by play, all of that kind of stuff. Like, he has been perfect. I mean, everything you could have wanted since they signed him.
I agree with that, Rob. I do think he understands the marketing part of the game extremely well. And I think he's embraced it. And I think that's a really good thing. And I think Major League Baseball loves the fact that he's doing that. But I always tell people when they say, when they ask about him, I say he is the least of the Phillies' issues. In fact, they'd have more issues if he wasn't with them. So I think I've readily admitted this publicly, that when he was with the Nationals, I was like everybody else, I don't like this guy. I love this guy. I love him.
Yeah.
I like everything about him. And again, is it hard to not get to the postseason when you're paying somebody like that? Yeah. But it's not his fault. He's doing everything he can to get them to the postseason.
Hey, Tom, what has been the biggest improvement for Aaron Nola? Because the last couple of times I've watched him, and he's snapping off his breaking pitches. They're dropping off the table. Corner to corner, he is right there with 95% of his pitches. What's been the biggest turnaround for him this season?
Well, I think a year older is a big thing there. I think that's a really big thing. I mean, he's always had it, but I thought the last couple of years he became too predictable. And when he would do that, you'd know when the curveball was coming, and it would sort of dance in the strike zone, so people would be able to hit him. So that's why all the 2-strike home runs, the 2-strike hits that he's given up. I do think there's a physical presence about him this year that's improved, which has enabled him to get downhill with his 2-seam fastball and his 4-seamer, which means he's able to paint the outside part of the plate. So then when he throws the curveball, it's a little more difficult for the hitter to address it. And I think the cutters helped him a little bit too, because, he's thrown it in curveball counts. So predictability has not been an issue for him, I don't think. I know people have said, well, he's had that one inning here, that one inning there. And you can't hide that.
Right.
But the overall body of work is... It's a sin that he doesn't have more wins, but that's in this day and age, that happens. I mean, it is. It just is what it is. But I think it's his physical ability getting stronger, but I also think it's the ability up here to understand what kind of a pitcher he is.
Yeah, Tom, that's the general. I mean, you look at it really from Gibson on up, and I know it hasn't quite been the same year for Suarez that he had last year, which was spectacular, but they've gotten really good generally starting pitching.
The starting pitching, Rob, to me is playoff-based starting pitching. And I agree with you. Ranger has not been – the first month of the year he was fine. The last month he's been up and down. But I think that they have playoff caliber starting pitching. What I mean by that is that you don't have 5 1s, but you have a 1, a 2, and really a 3 in Eflin that can match up against anybody's pitching staff in the postseason. So, and that's what you need. You need those 3. You probably need a 4th too, which would be, I would assume, Gibson. But those 3 match up with anybody if they were to make the postseason in the National League.
No question. Well, let's jump to the pen then. Let me ask you about the back of the pen. We know Canada's a little bit banged up right now. Do you think eventually, if he continues to struggle or isn't feeling right, is Sir Anthony going to be that guy on a permanent basis yet, Tom? Or they still not trust him to pitch night after night after night with all the surgeries and whatnot?
I think that's the key right there, Rob. I do think they trust him, but I don't think they want to burden him because of the surgery. Now, there may come a point in September or August where they will. But again, they're trying to make sure that what they're seeing is physically strong enough to be able to sustain this. I also think there's a chance they go out and get somebody, maybe not to close, but to help match up the back end of the game.
Makes sense.
Do they have enough? Do they have enough from these young guys? You know, the Moniak. Well, I keep saying, you know, young guys with Moniak. This is 5th year, you know, so he's not as young as you would usually say.
5th year since being drafted, right?
Right, 5th year since being drafted. I mean, do they have enough of these young gunners to come up through the rank, you know, to have some consistency to the end of this season? You know, do they have enough?
Well, I think that they I think getting Gene Segura back eventually is going to be huge because, listen, what Bryson's done is fantastic, but he's still hitting under 200, but his last few weeks have been really good. I think they can get by, but I still think that these guys have some growth to do. But I think we're seeing what happens when they tap into that growth. And can they do it long term? I'd be interested to see this year. I do think they can do it down the road, but I'd be interested to see if they can do it long term this year.
What will you be watching most closely in terms of this team's evolving identity to see what they are or maybe what they're not?
So I think 1 through 5 is where I would like to see their identity be stapled.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, Schwarber, Hoskins, Harper, Castellanos, Real Muto, those 5. That's the identity. They have to out-hit any of their defensive and even to a certain extent, even though, I mean, I heard somebody say the other day that the bullpen's been a dumpster fire. The bullpen really hasn't been. They have 5 blown saves. They're 3rd in the league in holds. It hasn't been great all the time, but it's not like they're, let's say, the Arizona Diamondbacks or somebody like that. But I think the identity has to be what you're seeing now, but it's got to be 1 through 5 that they're going to out-hit all of their issues.
Tom, we talked about right off the top maybe some of the differences with Rob Thompson and Joe. I just last night, and I don't even know if this is attributable to Rob, but maybe this is where the team has kind of turned the page a little bit. I thought it was interesting because you saw a couple of instances, you know, Real Muto hits into the double play, and you're thinking, huge opportunity. Didi picks him up, right? At the 9th inning, Bierling steals a bag, which doesn't even happen that much in baseball anymore, but that puts him in scoring position. And you pointed out on the broadcast astutely, the Marlins did the same thing by getting a guy in scoring position as well. But we hadn't seen a lot of that kind of stuff under Joe. He's using Bierling at you know, second, and he's not afraid to move him in the infield as well. There are some little subtle differences that we are seeing here that's leading to wins.
I do think there's subtle differences. I will say this, though, Rob, that even before Joe was let go, we were still among the leaders in stolen bases and stolen base percentage. Now, were we doing it the same way? Probably not, but we were still doing it. But I think there's subtleties in the trust part of it to let it go a little bit, not make the – and I don't know if it was all Joe, but to make the change after 2 days. You know, whether it be taking Schwarber out of the leadoff spot after 5 days or, you know, taking Stott out of the starting lineup after he struggled for a little bit. And I'm not even, like I said, I'm not even sure if that was totally on Joe, but I do think that that's the little subtleties. Listen, they're hitting, and it is really covering up a lot of their, you know, whatever was happening before. I think this is what everybody anticipated they would be from an offensive standpoint.
Well,
yeah, for sure.
You're absolutely right, man. You know, hitting has to be the all-encompassing medicine that they need to get better. But does Coach Thompson, does he have to make it to the playoffs for him to keep his job, or is this, you know, he's just going to stay the interim?
That's a good question too, Barrett. I think that I don't think he has to make the postseason. Okay. I think he has to just the team has to have life. But if they don't make the postseason and they bring in somebody else, I don't think it's because of him. I think it's just because of the way they want the future to be. It's kind of like with Pete Mackanin. I mean, Pete, I thought, was a really good manager, but at the time, Matt Klentak wanted what he would have for the future as the skipper. That's how Gabe Kapler happened. We got some lawn mowing going on.
Yeah, how dare they? Don't they know that you're on with us, Tom? That can't happen in the neighborhood, man.
There's not even much grass down here.
Yeah. What are you vacuuming? Stones? Everything is stones in Ocean City.
Seriously.
Unbelievable, man. We will not have that. That is unacceptable. But Tom,
it's like all over.
Yeah, a lot of positives for sure. But the one guy they clearly, and you just mentioned it, near to get going, is Castellanos. What do you think? Is this just, hey, it's a new team, guys sometimes press when they sign big deals like that? What do you attribute to the struggle still?
I think it's part of that, Rob. I do. I think that some of it is that. I think it's also, he's just in a slump. But I think I'm not really as worried about him because everybody else can cover for now, because I do think there's going to come a point where he's going to be Nick Castellanos.
Right.
So ride it for now. He's frustrated. I mean, I think I like the guy. I mean, some of the questions that you have for him, sometimes he just says, yeah, I agree with that. He doesn't answer them. But I do think that he understands what's going on. Like he's not saying, that'll be fine. He goes, no, I'm not comfortable right now. I got to get this going.
Yeah. Hey, Tom, do you anticipate this team making a move before the trade deadline?
Yes, I do, Dara. And I think it's because of what's happened here. I think you'll see bullpen, maybe a center fielder if there's somebody out there. But I don't know how much depth there is in the farm system that's ready to play in the big leagues that you can trade for somebody. So that would be the only thing I would say could underscore how big of a move it's going to be.
Tom, last one from me. I don't even know if this is a question, but I get a kick out of the Sundays with Schmitty when it's Schmitty and Kruk, and neither guy has looked up a certain stat.
Right.
Hey, what's he doing against lefties? And I can just hear, I can hear the wheels turning in your head, or Jeff Halleckman, your producer, trying to feed it to you. But I just love that those guys on the air just I don't know, what's this guy doing? And you're like, you're in scramble mode, man.
I'm telling you, this is where being the father of four really comes in handy, because you have to kind of think quickly and hope that your internet works fast and you can Google whatever that number is. That question is. There was something Kruk brought up the other day, and I'm like, well, I don't know that. And he knows the answer. He knows the answer.
Yeah. I think they just
scramble a little bit.
They like you sweating a little bit, Tom. They enjoy that.
Think that. Yeah, yes. I do think that.
But I lied. All right, last thing. So Tom's son, Patrick, is a broadcaster as well. You've heard him filling in some Phillies games. He does Lehigh Valley and does a really good minor league report with the pregame show on radio for Murph too, Tom, by the way. But how cool is that, man? I mean, as a dad, we were all dads. I mean, that's got to be an unbelievable feeling.
Well, it's great because I was gone for most of their childhood. I mean, I would be at their baseball games and things like that, but I missed a lot. And, I didn't know how that impacted them. But I think they also know that I kind of go to work every day in a good mood.
Right.
I'm excited about this game. If I was an administrator with the Trenton Thunder, like I used to be, I don't know if I'd be as excited. I mean, that'd be cool to go to a ballpark, but not to broadcast. I mean, to broadcast the game, it's pretty sweet. So I think they see that. And I always tell people that whatever you do, you got to look forward to going to work every day, because otherwise it's just like filling time. And I'm not into that. Just the filling time.
You don't work with these two then.
Hey, wait a minute.
Listen, Barrett, here's the thing. Gunner's going to get you Villanova tickets if it's.
That's right. That's right.
See?
You better believe it.
Now he's not.
Tom,
he was going to. Now he's not.
Hey, Tom, did you notice how they both feigned shame? Oh, I'm so sorry he asked you that. If I get those tickets, the first thing both of them will say, you went to the game against Kentucky and you didn't ask us to go.
I got the first round of peanuts and popcorn, man. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah,
right?
Sure.
Hey, Tom, are you in Ocean City, New Jersey, or Maryland?
New Jersey.
Oh, I was gonna say, if you in Maryland, how long is it gonna take you to get to the game?
Yeah, that's a long haul, man.
That's a haul, baby.
Yeah. There's only one Ocean City.
Oh yeah, give us a little view, Tom, for the day.
I don't know if you can see the Ferris wheel in the background, but
there you go.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Dude,
Tom,
you're living a life, man. You're down at the beach. You get to call games. I want to be like you when I grow up.
Exactly.
Well, Gun, take your hair off. Let the hat off. You see how the hair's going right now.
Here we go.
Hey, brother, I'm right there with you.
Yeah, I hear you. Tom,
that's why I wear the hat.
Yeah. Awesome getting to hang with you a little bit, man. Keep up the great work on the broadcast for NBC Sports Philadelphia.
Yeah,
and again, love your football and basketball work too, man. We appreciate it.
Well, I appreciate it, guys. All right, be good, all right?
Take care,
have
Tom.
a good call, man.
All right, you got it. How about that? He's and subtly takes us into the living room while the guy's cutting the lawn right next to
That's
the
a
deck.
professional move.
That's
right
a pro.
there.
That's a pro. He didn't get thrown off. He just kept moving, man. That's the way you got to do it. We deal with all that stuff whenever there's craziness going on at our houses.
Right.
Dogs barking. You got to suddenly hit the mute button. Yeah.
Right. I'm liable to have something, just blow up. I just keep it riding. You what was that? Don't even worry about it, bro. Just don't even worry about it. Just keep it going, man.
Is that the fire truck pulling up to the house?
Right.
No, it's all good. Nothing to worry about. Nothing to see here.
On this show,
is that
we
gunshots?
Yeah. This show, we got dogs walking across the screen.
Right.
We got baby changing diapers running around. You know, you won't find another show like this one. I guarantee you that.
You ain't never lied, man. You ain't told nothing but the truth, man.
But look, just to recap, put our little bow on the Phillies here, man. It was one of those games. I know, Gunner, you were locked into it last Barrett. I know you were watching it too, but that was that's what it should be during the regular season. It shouldn't be just this slog that we were going through for the first 50 games or whatever it was this season. They've become, and by the way, attendance is starting to really grow too. They become fun again.
Well, hey, that's gonna make Middleton be like, okay, all right, I should have did this a long time ago.
Yeah,
I got to keep somebody to keep these guys interested. Yeah, because it didn't seem like they were interested. They said fun. I doubt it's not necessarily fun. It was they were disinterested in really just improving as a squad. You know, that's just what I felt.
I agree.
You know,
look, Barrett, I'm with you, man. I think that it's a whole different vibe, and I know everybody's just saying, "Oh, it's winning." It is winning, but this team is loose now, and that breeds success.
Yep, exactly.
You know, the simple formula for getting fans to come out in this market is give them a product they can be proud of. Not so much the W's and the L's, but just a competitive product where they feel like when they walk away, they've gotten their money's worth out of the entertainment value that they've just witnessed. That's all these people ask for, man. Now, obviously, they want to win and beat the chest because they want to win, but you know, you give them a product, and as you just talked about, the attendance is going up because the product has improved on the field.
Yep.
It's that simple. And, you know, earlier in the show, Rob, I was talking about how, just from a baseball standpoint, how I really enjoyed that game last night because of the pitching matchup between Alcantara and Nola. I mean, I'm watching Nola, man. The last 3 or 4 outings, his breaking ball has been off the table.
Yep.
He's corner to corner. Then I watch Alcantara. This man throwing 97, 98 mile an hour, 4-seam fastballs.
Heat, baby.
Then he throws a changeup that hits 92. How many people throw a 92 mile an hour changeup, man?
No. And he's like 6'5", you know, intimidating on the mat. Like, I know.
No wonder his ERA was 1.61 going in that game.
Huge. To win that game, Gunner, with that dude on the mound is huge.
Let me tell you something, man.
I don't know what the hell you guys are talking about. Bringing ball four string this and
4-seam fastball. Dude, let me tell you something. Barrett, we're going to educate.
I play football with the football on a football field. I love football.
No, he was spectacular last night, man.
This show is not just to entertain you. We will inform you as well as we go along.
That's right. That's right. All right. So when we come back, guys, football, we're going to set our sights on the Birds and talk about chips on the shoulder and something to prove this year, because that category would fit a lot of the Philadelphia Eagles this season. That's for sure. 2:00, Brian Mitchell, former Eagle, is going to be joining us. We'll get into a lot of things in that last segment as well, the open talk segment where we jump around a little bit. So don't go anywhere. We come back, Eagle Talk, Brian Mitchell, top of the hour, Derek Gunn, Barrett Brooks, Rob Ellis. We are Sports Take, JAKIB Sports, YouTube Network. All right, you know how tricky it can be with your finances sometimes, and you're not really sure who to turn to, what direction to go if you're not an expert in the field, and you want to be able to try and save some money for your future. Well, I went through the same thing that you're going through out there, trust me. And I found out from my own personal experience that Jim Murray is the person to trust from Principal Financial Group. Whether it's retirement planning, 401k review, insurance review, you have a small business, you need help setting up the benefits, that's another resource that Jim can help you with. I personally have entrusted my IRA, my 401k rollover when I've left other places, and I can't be happier. He has answered every question I had. I wasn't sure about certain things, and Jim is always the one to steer you in the right direction and explain it as you go along. So give him a call, 610-996-4751. That's 610-996-4751. Or you can email him at Murray, MURRAY.Jim@principal.com.
Go for the polls and the pools. Go for the oohs and the ahs. Go for the bubbles and the bubbly. Go for the story and the stories. Go for the win. Go to Ocean Casino Resort. Book your trip at theoceanac.com.
field of life, First Trust Bank is there for you.
Champions on 3. 1, 2, 3.
Because Philadelphia dreams deserve a Philadelphia bank.
At Stateside Vodka, every new customer gets the world's best rocks glass, free.
You're telling me that bottle is cut in half?
You could say that.
At Action News, we cherish every moment, and it's our profound responsibility to bring you closer to your world. Never miss a moment. Trust the people at Action News.
All right, did you know I was the mommy slam dunk champion?
Really?
Yes, really don't sound so surprised.
Let's see it.
Oh, you're ready. All right, here we go. Let's hear the crowd. So go to right, I go to left, fake a mom. Mama go up, mama!
She did it.
Again? You can't avoid gravity, but United Healthcare can help you avoid financial surprises by helping you compare costs and doctor quality ratings. United Healthcare.
Uh-huh. Go for the midnight dares. Go for the game. Go for the hits. Go for the fans. Go for the win. Go to Ocean Casino Resort. Book your trip at theoceanac.com.
Another banana throwdown. I got it down. All good. Welcome back, everybody. Yes.
Hey, Philly 559 says, "Hey, D-Gun, what are you snacking on?" All right, I'm eating almonds. Okay, can I enjoy my almonds, please? Thank you very much. Thank you.
There you go. There you go.
There you go. Yes.
All right. We don't want you to collapse.
Do that on air, though.
Yeah, we don't want you to collapse during the show.
You're supposed to do that on air.
Man,
if I'd have done that, you'd have been so mad. You'd have been.
No, I wouldn't.
Oh, you would?
No, I don't care. You can eat a steak on air if you want to. I don't care. I'll be pissed off. I'll be ticked off that you can invite me and offer me any, but
that
you can eat what you
good
want
too. That sounds good to have a steak right about now, bro. I'm hungry as a hostage. I ate some Pringles, man. It didn't do anything but make me mad.
They just made you mad?
I will say on the before Kyle Neptune came on.
Little things.
Oh yeah, Barry used to keep those all the time at his desk.
Yeah.
And I was like, "Hey man, give me about 5 or 6 of those, man." But I will say before Kyle Neptune came on, so I'm trying to scarf down some of these almonds. And sometimes you eat almonds and then you breathe in, and one got stuck in there. Thank goodness we were in a commercial break. I'm in a commercial break like this. I was about to step off camera, man.
That's a bad look, man. When that happens, that is not good. You start panicking. I'm telling you, man. Yeah.
And then your voice gets like this, and you can't talk because you're sucking down water trying to clear it out. It's not working. So.
I was actually doing a MAC game, broadcasting a MAC game, and my the play-by-play guy, he did it.
Oh
yes, he was drunk. He was drinking water though, and it went down the wrong hole.
Yeah,
and so they cut his mic, and then I turned around. I just took over a little bit for him until he got back. You know what I'm saying? Called like 2 plays for him, and then he came back.
Kind of like when you had to do quick slants, right?
That I can't believe you said that, man.
All right, not to be gross, but I'll ask you guys this question since this is what we do. We keep it real. This happened to me once in all my years in radio. Never happened on TV. Knock on wood again. Where I had to go, if you know what I'm saying. There wasn't an option. There wasn't an option. Okay. So our setup actually, this was when I was at another radio station besides WIP. I think we can all figure out what that is. But anyway, I was at another radio station, and the bathroom, as you guys I think know from being there, is not exactly right there. You got to go around.
Right, you got to go.
Yeah.
And you got to go through doors, unlock doors. And everything.
It's set up very
Have a
poorly.
key pass and all
Yes,
that.
it's a bad setup.
And then you got to know a code to get in.
By the way,
the bathroom.
So whoever designed that had no idea what it's like to do radio because you need a bathroom near there. Anyway, that's a whole different story. So I felt the rumblings in the previous segment that there was going to be some problems. So I said to the producer, I'm like, dude, you better load up on commercials. He's like, what do you mean? I'm like, I'm having some problems, distressed. So he loaded up. I went and, took care of business and got back as quickly as I could. But has that ever happened to you guys before?
No,
of course.
No,
of course.
No, not like that, bro. Never. I've been in this business over 4 decades. I have never gotten to that point, whether I'm live on a field, whether I'm in studio. Not like that. Now I've had to maybe make a quick run for, a quick, but to that point, no, man, because I'll tell you what if you didn't get there in time? You can't sit there. You can't sit there squishing around.
No.
You sit there like, oh.
Honestly, like, I think you just do it. You just go, man, and you just deal with it. I do. I think that's what you do.
That's the kind of show you better be doing by yourself because your co-host is not staying in the room with you, man. I'm telling you now. Your co-host be sitting like this on radio. Oh, yeah. Can we go to commercial break?
Like hold on. What?
Bro, I've been on set, man. One time I was on set, bro. I'm on pre and post game show, and needs to say, one of
somebody ripped
one. It was loud too, and then it just played like. All right, I did it. I'm like,
yeah. deal with it.
I'm looking like, oh, you just gonna do that and just let it, you just gonna do that, right?
At least acknowledge it. At least be like, my bad, sorry. Like, be prepared.
No. You don't own that. You don't fess up to that, man. You just let it. Here's the best about being on the sideline on the field when you got 10 cameras on the field. You all squished in like this. You're all doing your live shots. You got players walking behind you, officials. And you let one go, you just act like nothing happened. Everybody's looking around like this.
But you too simple. You too simple because you would start laughing. You too simple, man.
I did.
He just let it rip and he just be laughing. He the only one everybody looking like, what is that?
My photographers would be like, dig up, was that you? I'd be like this. No, man, I don't know what you're talking about. Okay, coming up next. No. Hey, I didn't admit nothing, man. But see, Rob, that should have been a lesson. You should have been wearing adult diapers from that point on.
It depends. I might need them for this show.
Or depends.
Yeah.
Or depends.
You're right.
Oh my goodness.
Oh God. All right. Anyway.
I can't even imagine, especially when you're doing 3-4 hour radio shift.
Well,
I can't even imagine you doing that, going through something like that, dude.
I would do occasionally. I do 5 solo. And,
what?
Oh yeah.
5 hours?
For that long, bro.
Yeah.
5 hours solo.
I used to do this is back in the day. I used to do every Sunday, 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. Every Sunday, I would do 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. I'd follow Sonny Hill in the living room, and I'd go from the living room to the outhouse, I used to say, with my show. But I would do 10 a.m. to 3 p.m., and that was a grind.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, that was a grind. I used to do 5 hours. When I would do afternoon drive at WIP with Anthony, we would do 5 hours then. And that's long even for 2 people. But when you do 5 solo, I did, guys, I'll tell you another one.
5 hours.
I did 5 almost every Sunday during the pandemic by myself. With no sports.
Come on, man.
You pay extra?
No, not a penny extra.
What?
Not a penny extra.
You got paid for one
shift. Yeah, one shift.
I'll tell you, the worst for me is when you have the beginning stages or you're in the middle of laryngitis and you have to go live or you in studio. I got to tell you, because there have been times when I was in studio with Barrett, the louder I talk, the worse it got. And you strain your voice and dude, to me, that's the absolute worst, because obviously your voice is what your job is all about.
100%.
Dude, and there have been times when I've and my wife would say, why don't you stay home? Or a boss would say, why don't you stay home? But I was always the kind of person, I don't miss work unless I'm at death's doorstep. I think I've been in this industry over 4 decades, and I can honestly say there's less than 10 times in 4 decades when I've actually called out work because I'm ill. I would go to work ill. I would go to work less than 100%. I just didn't miss work. And that's where I always taught my kids, you don't miss work, because my philosophy is, and I think, and I'm not going to say any names, but we know people, we worked with people that would get a hangnail and call out sick and would drive you nuts because it disrupts everybody else's day. There were people that would fake illness all the time just because you had X amount of built-in days for sick days, and they would take them as vacation days.
Well, I might have called out on the fishing day once or twice.
Well, yeah, well, I didn't want to say anything, but yeah, you have, but that's another story.
How do you know?
Dude, I know you. I know you. And I'm not gonna blame you. I envy the fact that, hey, you taking a fishing day, but I just couldn't do that.
Well, by the way, you know, guys, you know, Monday's Michael Barkan's
here we go. Another golf tournament.
I gotta go to it though. You know I gotta go to that.
You don't have to do anything you don't want to do.
Well, that's the case then.
There you go. Goodbye. Get out. Goodbye.
He's gone. You just kicked him off the show. That's not right, man. Right.
Something's wrong with you, man. I've said this for years. There's something mentally wrong with you that needs to be evaluated.
Oh man!
And if that's not the pot calling the kettle black, right?
Good point.
I admit it. I need mental evaluation. I'm not going to lie to you.
We all do. Trust me. All right. So Eagles. Let's get it back to the Eagles. As somebody.
Yeah, you want to go talk sports again? We having fun. Hey, you want to talk sports?
I'll keep telling you about my indigestion and some of my issues. I'm not afraid to do that. That's for sure. But players with chips on their shoulder, guys, for the Eagles this year. Let's start with the obvious one here. Let's start with Jalen Hurts, because he comes into the season, you know, and frankly, with all of us saying this, the fans saying this, but even as an organization, you know, in a subtle way, with having 2 first-round draft picks for next year, is sort of saying it too, that, you know, we like you, but we don't love you. We're not 100%, you know, we're not ready to give you the engagement ring yet. It's been fun dating, but we're not sure. So, you know, let's discuss that. How does that work for a guy like that? Is it motivation? Does it hurt him in any way? How do you think he utilizes that?
He's one of the unique guys that it doesn't affect him the way it would usually, like it would affect me differently. You know, so I'm like, yo, here I am busting my ass every day. And you guys, because I mean, I had a chip on my shoulder, every year that I was in the league, because I was never slated my first 6 years to be a starter, and that being a starter. Anyways, you know, they would bring somebody in to replace me, and I'd fight them off, and I end up starting. And I got tired of it, man. You know, I just kept, but after a while, they labeled me a backup, and there's nothing I could do to get over that hump after that. So he's trying to keep from getting labeled a backup quarterback, where everybody thinks of now Jalen Hurts being a starting quarterback, even though he was brought in to be a backup quarterback. And he wants to get that label and never have that label applied to the back of his name. So he's going to have a chip on his shoulder, you know, for the rest of the time he's in the league, because he was brought in as a backup quarterback. So, you know, he has a lot to prove. They invested a lot of money in Jalen Hurts right now. A lot of money. He has high expectations, but nobody's expectations are higher than the expectation he has on himself. And that's one thing for sure.
Yeah, if I'm Jalen Hurts, I'm not playing with a chip on my shoulder. I'm playing with a watermelon on my sholders.
A rock of Gibraltar.
You know what I'm saying? Because internally, I'm tired of people doubting me. I'm tired of people not giving me the full benefit that I'm still in a learning curve under a new coach. My second coach in 2 years in the league. I'm tired of hearing all the negativisms about what I cannot do when I haven't had the full opportunity to show what I can do more than one season. We always talk about quarterbacks usually take 3 to 4 years to fully develop, and yet here people are slamming me after one season of being a starter in the National Football League. And I think if you look historically, every quarterback from mediocre to Hall of Fame, future Hall of Famer, struggled in their first season. Mm-hmm. It's a natural growth process. So I'm tired of people looking at me sideways like I'm going to expecting me to fail more than succeed. So if I'm Jalen Hurts, I've got every bit of motivation I need to go out and prove people wrong.
Yeah, I think he's a classic use it as fuel guy. He's the opposite of Wentz. He's the opposite of Ben Simmons. I think he's the guy who legitimately feeds off of it. It's not just lip speak when you hear people say it sometimes. I think it makes him better, in fact. And I think to an extent, guys, his teammates really rally around that too. Like they know what everybody's saying on the outside. And you've heard what some of them had to say, Dallas Goedert being one of them, where it didn't just feel like, yeah, we're really behind him. Like, of course we are, which you always hear from players. Like, I think these guys, Barrett. I mean, I think these guys are kind of like, okay, let's show these.
We're tied with you. You know what I'm saying? We're tied with you. And Coach Thompson, just text me. Imagine if Trevor Lawrence had Jalen Hurts' stats.
Yeah.
He would be heralded as one of the best rookie quarterbacks ever. Yeah. If he had Jalen Hurts' stats. But yet Jalen Hurts had those stats, but he's still labeled as a backup quarterback who has to prove himself, going into the season.
I think it's a great point by Coach Marcus and you, Barrett. I think that because of where he was taken and because there's been so much speculation that the Eagles or somebody else doesn't believe, and it goes back to Alabama when he gets benched in the championship game. It all goes back to that, but where he doesn't get the respect thing is thrown around so much, but for lack of a better word, there is a respect level. He certainly got to prove it this year for sure. I mean, I don't think there's any doubt about that, but I think it plays into it. I do. I think all of it plays in.
I think if you look at the comments with D Mizzle, I think that's a great comparison. Jalen Hurts reminds me of Russell Wilson. Do y'all agree? If you remember Russell Wilson coming out of college, what was the knock against him? He's too small quarterback. He's too small.
Runs too much.
Will he succeed in the National Football League? Well, if you look at the bulk of his career, all he's done is win. He took his team to 2 Super Bowls. He's considered an elite quarterback in the NFL. So, yeah, he went out and proved a lot of people wrong. And don't think he didn't wear that chip on his shoulder for a while until he shut a lot of people up. Mm-hmm. And, in his heyday, he was one of the most feared, not just athletes playing quarterback, but one of the most feared quarterbacks in all the NFL.
Mm-hmm. Right on. Yeah. All right. So it's a long list here. The other one, this next one, I think is an interesting one because he's always kind of an afterthought when we look at this Eagles offense. We start with, A.J. Brown edition, and Devontae Smith and Dallas Goedert in the offensive line, and certainly Jalen Hurts. And then we get around to Miles Sanders, who's had an interesting career for the Eagles in that he's certainly been a home run hitter. He's able to rip off a 60-yarder. But there have been moments where he's either injured early in his career or there was ball security issues. The position itself is disrespected by the league, let's be honest. And he's entering, a huge year for him from a contractual standpoint. So how big is that shoulder on Miles Sanders, or a boulder on that shoulder for Miles Sanders?
That's probably one of the biggest on the team because here he is in a lamed up contract. He was injured last year for a majority of the year. Potentially, he could, his potential is he could be a breakout type of player. But all things are pointing towards him not being that player because, not only when he was on the field, he kept trying to bounce it outside instead of putting up to the middle. And then you had a guy like Howard come in and show him how to run the rock. You know what I'm saying? So he has so much adversity against him, even with having the best offensive line in the league. Howard had to show him how to run the rock. He wanted to bounce everything. Then he got hurt. So many things are stacked up against him that he's got a chip on his shoulder. It's the size of the Rock Gibraltar. For real. He's like, all right, nobody's really talking about me either. Here I am, a starting back in the league, 2nd-round pick, and we're not even up for contract negotiations or anything. I'm going into this next season, with a 1-year deal. I mean, that's it. To me, he's got to be pissed off. He's got to be pissed off, highly pissed off.
Let me add one thing, Derek, before you jump in on that. This is a guy also who sat 3 years behind Saquon Barkley at Penn State before he finally got a shot. So he's been living this since the college days for sure. Go ahead, Derek.
I think the biggest knock on him has been he has the potential to be 1,000-yard back, but he doesn't have the body type to sustain that. To be 1,000-yard back, you got to tote that rock about 300 carries a season. Miles Sanders is the body type. If he carries about 300 times a season, he's not going to finish the season. And that's not a knock against him. There's a number of backs like that throughout the National Football League. And that's always going to be the biggest reason why he will never be a so-called highly paid running back in the NFL. He'll be a decently paid running back in the NFL. He will always be that situational back, but he will never be considered that 3-down back, every time. And unfortunately for him, the only way to do that is to get bigger. But if he got bigger, you have to ask, how much will it affect his quickness, his agility, his ability to make people miss? So he's that tweener. His whole career is going to be based on catching the ball out of the backfield, trying to be that home run hitter, and your numbers are going to suffer for it because our mindset has to be, you are a dangerous player, but we need to keep you on the field for 17 games, not 13 games.
Mm-hmm. All right, we move to an obvious one, and a guy who's been, a punching bag, and rightfully so for his first 2 years in the league. But that's Jalen Reagor, and some of this, look, it's self-inflicted. You show up your rookie year and you fail your physical. I have a hard time having a lot of sympathy for you. All right, so not only do you have something like that, the guy just didn't perform on the field. Now, things are out of his control. He's had some tough things in his personal life in terms of friends that he lost, and that's awful. You feel for him for that. But, the first 2 years for a first-round pick, especially one who was taken in front of Justin Jefferson, this is the potential to be an all-time bust kind of guy. And now he's kind of just battling for a position on this team. I think he's going to be here simply because of where he was taken, and they don't want to eat the money and all that. But, Derek, I'll start with you on this one. How do you forecast Jalen Reagor this year?
I think Jalen Reagor can have as many chips on his shoulder that he wants to, but I think Jalen Reagor is what he is.
Right.
And I think the fact that they went out and got A.J. Brown, he has slid further down the priority totem pole, so to speak. Now, I know I said over a month ago I expected Jalen Reagor to make this roster, but after talking to a few people over the past several weeks, I don't think Jalen Hurts is going to make this 53-man roster, to be honest.
Okay.
I think he's going to be a camp body, which, every team has X amount of players, just so you don't overwork some players. But I think Jalen Reagor's numbers, Jalen Reagor's days are numbered with the Philadelphia Eagles. Now, somebody I believe will pick him up off waivers, but I just think the Eagles have gotten to a point with him. They're frustrated with him. I don't think he's going to get much better than he is right now. And because of A.J. Brown, because of the development of a first-round pick in Devontae Smith, because of their commitment to Quez Watkins, we still don't know what John Hightower is or is not. Greg Ward is a safety valve. They brought in Zach Pascal now. I think his days are numbered with this team.
Barrett?
Absolutely. And it has nothing to do with me laughing. It has nothing to do with people bagging on him and talking about him.
Right.
It has everything to do with what are you going to do to take this stench off of you.
Yep.
He has to go out there and prove that he belongs on this team, that he belongs in the NFL, no matter where they drafted him or the expectations that are put on him. He has to fulfill his own destiny. Nobody can do it for him.
Yep.
His dad can't go out there and play for him. The coach can't go out there and play for him. He has to go out there and play like he belongs in the NFL. He hasn't done that thus far. I don't know if he has a woe is me attitude or anything else. All I know is either put up or shut up in NFL.
Yep.
NFL stands for not for long. And if you have a short amount of time to maximize your abilities in the NFL, or you're just going to be laid to the wayside. And it's up to him right now to see if he's going to turn the corner or not. It's time to get off the pot.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying?
100%. It's that year. And I don't want to hear who's in front of you in the depth chart. I don't want to hear any of that.
Matter.
None of that woe is me stuff.
Right.
If you're going to show us you're legit, then show us you're legit.
Because he has talent.
Yep.
The kid has talent.
Yes.
The kid should have been drafted, just not the first round, but he should have been drafted.
Yeah, it's amazing.
He's an amazing athlete. Big, fast, strong. But lacks the commitment or lacks the focus that you need to be a top flight type of player.
His lack of production has been historic. It really has. When you consider where he was taken and the amount of snaps that they have forced, and I say forced,
force-fed him, yes.
To be out there. I mean, how many times did we see the jet sweep, which never worked, but they just kept doing it to try to get him going, or a receiver screen or a bubble screen or whatever?
That bubble screen, that tunnel screen,
terrible.
They try to force it to him all day.
Barrett, this is a first-round pick in 2 years that has 64 catches for 695 yards and 3 touchdowns.
Mm-hmm.
You look at the amount of snaps.
In 1 year?
The first 2 years.
That was combined?
Yeah.
Combined.
Yeah.
But you look at the amount of snaps that I'm not even giving you the amount of snaps that are involved in there. That where they tried like hell to try to give him something, either to get him going or justify where you took him. And it never took, man. It never took. All right, let's go.
The biggest knock against him has been he got drafted one spot ahead of that guy in Minnesota. And it's always going to haunt him because you look at the gaudy numbers Justin Jefferson put up in Minnesota compared to what he's done for the Eagles, and that's always going to haunt him as long as he's in Philadelphia.
He can't let it happen, though. He can't let it haunt him. He's got to go out there and dictate his own career. You can't let anybody else dictate your career.
No, you're right. And Barrett, just to put it in perspective, so just last year, Justin Jefferson, 108 catches, 1,616 yards, 10 touchdowns, and that's a 15-yard per catch average. That's last year. That's not his first 2 years. That's just last year. Career, if you really want to get more pain, career 196 catches, 3,016 yards, 17 touchdowns for a 15.4 average.
That's more than offense.
Yeah, sure it is. Yep. All right, let's get one more in here. I think this is an interesting one too. TJ Edwards, who had a real good year last year for the Eagles, but they go out, they get Kazir White. They draft Nakobe Dean. Notice we never say Dean. We always say Nakobe Dean. We always say two words. And Hassan Reddick we know he's a kind of a hybrid, but whatever. He's kind of technically a linebacker, but meaning there could be less snaps and less opportunities for TJ, who I think is a quality linebacker. But
absolutely.
He could be a chip on the shoulder guy too.
No, he's definitely a chip on the shoulder guy. TJ Edwards changed the whole defense just by his play last year. I mean, he wasn't even a starter. They tried to make Eric Wilson a starter, but he beat him out, got him cut because he didn't know how to play the game. He started initiating and activating a linebacker position. He went through his keys, read the triangle, was going downhill. He was keeping the double teams off the defensive lineman because he would go initiate contact, which take that double team off. Now both of you are one-on-one blocks. You can go make a play, as opposed to taking double teaming that offensive line, that defensive lineman all the way back into the linebacker's lap. That happened a lot last year before he became a starter. All of a sudden, he brought that funk to everything and started hitting people and laying people out and playing at a high level, and changed how they played and called defenses. So, yeah, he has a chip on the shoulder because he thought, they gave him a little contract. He thought things were all gravy. Now he's fighting for his position again.
No doubt, Derek.
Yeah, I agree 100%. And TJ Edwards is one of those guys. He can continue to play the way he played last year, but because of the numbers game, his numbers on field may be reduced because of what they did in terms of going out and acquiring 2 proven free agents, and because of who they drafted. And that's not a knock against him. If the linebacker situation plays out the way we've talked about and the way we hoped it has, his best move might be to go somewhere else and start his career all over again. I hate to say that because I don't want to see him leave, but that might be his best bet. Yeah, unfortunately.
I hear you.
You're right. Well, just like Alex Singleton. Alex Singleton is right now starting
Denver
for the Denver Broncos.
That's right.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Well said. Well said. All right, quick timeout. We come back. We keep it rolling, man. We keep that mojo going. That train does not stop. We're an express, man. We got Brian Mitchell coming up on the other side. We will talk to Brian about everything that's going on with Washington, about the Eagles, about the NFC East, his career here, his remembrances of Philadelphia. You name it. We will dig into it with B. Mitch when we get back. Derek Gunn, Barrett Brooks, Rob Ellis. We are Sports Take, JAKIB Sports YouTube Network. All right, let me tell you about the great folks at Pro Action Restoration. You're wondering, what's Pro Action Restoration? Well, if your home or your business or your property goes through any kind of smoke or mold or fire or water damage, they're the people you call. They are on call 24/7, 24 hours, 7 days a week. They're there to assist you. I went through it myself personally with my parents. They were older folks at the time. They didn't know what to do. They couldn't handle the amount of water that they were getting in their basement. I called Pro Action. They were over there quick. They cleaned up a big time mess. The crew was professional, clean. The price was reasonable. They were awesome. They are a licensed, bonded, and fully insured. They've been serving the tri-state area for more than 2 decades. Pro Action will work in conjunction with your insurance company as well. Again, whether it's water, fire, smoke damage, mold remediation, you name it, they can handle it. give them a call, 610-623-3760, 610-623-3760, or you can reach out to them online at proactionrestoration.com. That's proactionrestoration.com.
Go for the poles and the pools. Go for the oohs and the ahs. Go for the bubbles and the bubbly. Go for the story and the stories. Go for the win. Go to Ocean Casino Resort. Book your trip at theoceanac.com.
Field of life, First Trust Bank is there for you.
Champions on 3. 1, 2, 3.
Because Philadelphia dreams deserve a Philadelphia bank.
At Stateside Vodka, every new customer gets the world's best rocks glass, free.
You're telling me that bottle is cut in half?
You could say that.
At Action News, we cherish every moment, and it's our profound responsibility to bring you closer to your world. Never miss a moment. Trust the people at Action News.
All right, did you know I was the Mommy Slam Dunk Champion?
Really?
Yes, really, don't sound so surprised.
Let's see it.
Oh, you're ready. All right, here we go. Let's hear the crowd. So go to right, I go to left, fake 'em out. Mama, go up, up, up.
She did it.
Again? You can't avoid gravity, but United Healthcare can help you avoid financial surprises by helping you compare costs and doctor quality ratings. United Healthcare.
Uh-huh.
Go for the midnight dares. Go for the game. Go for the hits. Go for the fans. Go for the win. Go to Ocean Casino Resort. Book your trip at theoceanac.com.
All right, welcome back in, everybody. Sports Take. Rob Ellis, Derek Gunn, and Barrett Brooks. And joining us right now, and he played for the Eagles, if you remember back in the day. He was a phenomenal NFL player. He was an Eagle from 2000 to 2002. Played for not only Washington, Philadelphia, but the Giants, the trifecta in the NFC East. And, of course, does an unbelievable job with his analysis for NBC down in MC Sports down in the Washington, D.C. area. And, of course, 106 as well, a radio station, 106.7 The Fan. You can follow him on Twitter at BMitchLive NBCS. Brian Mitchell, welcome to the show, man.
How y'all doing, man? What's going on?
Good, don't let it fool you. B. Mitch was a hired assassin. He'd have went to anywhere else. He was gonna get that money, boy. I tell you, boy.
Hey, you go. Hey, B, you go where you want it, brother. If when they let me go here in Philly, and I mean, DC, Philly wanted me, and that's why I went there. You know, so.
No question.
And then the New York thing was just I had to see Joe Banner. That's all that was about.
Oh my God, those are the days, man. Those are the days.
Oh man.
Right. Well, let's start there. So you were here for some really good Eagles teams, man, and I'll never forget your kick return in the NFC Championship game against the Bucs, which that game still eats away at me, man. You guys couldn't pull that one up, but it wasn't your fault, that's for sure. Just give me your remembrances of your Eagles days.
Well, I think, one thing about it, whenever someone lets you go, you're looking for the team that truly wants you. And I remember Ray Rose was on the coaching staff here, and he had mentioned to me, he said that, the Eagles were very interested in me. because he had talked with Andy and also David Culley, who recruited me out of high school. I don't think many people in Philly knew that. David recruited me out of high school, and he was my coach for 2 years in college. So when I came up for the visit, all they had to do is show me a little love because I was going to sign with them. I believe in having something to motivate you, and to see Washington twice was motivation. And then I get there and I heard that Angelo was talking about trying to get me a radio show and things like that. So I was ready to get it done. I felt like the team welcomed me in. My attitude is very much like Philadelphia, where I'm in your face. I'm going to say what I want to say. And when I get on the football field, I'm going to go out there and perform. I understand what Philly's about. It's a hard-working town. If you come there with hype, you better live up to it. If you don't, they're going to let you know about it. And I love people to tell me exactly what they feel. If you don't like me, say that. If you like me, say it. But I don't like you to be playing games with me.
Hey, B. Mitch, was there ever a time when your honesty got you in trouble as a player? Because I've always said B. Mitch is going to tell it like it is as long as the day is long.
I don't think it's gotten me in trouble. Now, people that can't handle the truth might feel a certain way. Right. But I think one thing about it, I was smart enough to really know how far to push it. Yeah. And I think a lot of times, even like with players, when I was doing media while I was there and I did media while I was here, while I played, if someone had a bad game, I would go and talk to them to hear their words, their opinions of what they felt. If they had a good game, I did the same thing. So instead of me giving my opinion, I gave their opinion, their words. And I think I had a lot of players come. I remember when I first got to Philly, and I don't know if this is known by many, Andy did not want me to do radio because he felt that, that Witzcom would make us say certain things. And then I say, Coach, they're not going to make me say anything. I'm going to say what I want to say. Nobody's going to ever make me say anything. And after about 3 to 4 weeks of me doing my show, I forgot, was it Peduzzi? That was not Peduzzi was the trainer, but the other guy that
Rick Burkholder. Yeah, Rick
Burkholder. Yeah, but the person that worked with the PR, he came to me and said, man, you're really good at this. And then Andy would say, man, you don't let people make you say anything. And they loved it. And I love to feel like I was a part of WIP and the team coming closer, because when I got there, it wasn't like a good connection.
Right.
No, like
that's
all
well
the
said.
players were working on WIP at that point.
Right. I can remember I'm walking up the steps with Jimmy Johnson, man, and they said that the owner said was listening to Andy Cataldi, and cut, told him to cut Jimmy Johnson, and they cut him, and at that point Ray Rose didn't even know that he was getting cut.
Wow.
He didn't know his tight end was getting cut, man. So it was definitely a bad relationship with media and the football. That's why I didn't like Derek or Robert.
That was only one of the reasons, Brian. There's many others. Yeah.
See, I was brought there to bridge the gap between the two. You know what I mean?
That's what you're all about. You're just a bridger. That's what you do.
Man.
Oh man, Brian. So I'm curious your opinion. We'll start with the Eagles, and then we'll jump to Washington. But what are your thoughts on the way this team's shaping up for the 2022 season?
Well, I mean, they had a hell of an offseason, and I think, being here in Washington, it's kind of hard to talk about offseason and not understand. Like, we went through a long time of winning the offseason, but it didn't work during the season. But I really believe that they helped themselves out. I think the Eagles added some people in key positions. I think Jalen Hurts now has to take that step. He has a receiver that can actually ball out. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Then you went to the draft, and you drafted all the right guys. So I think they've done a great job. Now you take what you did last year and build off of it. Dallas, in a sense, could have stayed right where they were or dropped back a little bit, losing Amari Cooper. Mm-hmm. So the Eagles are primed to go out there and do some good things. So I want to see this division back how it used to be, where it was always competition across the board, instead of seeing one dominant team. But the fact that nobody has repeated as the champion since 2004, when the Eagles last did it, that says a lot. So I guess the parity has been there. But I want to see all 4 teams at their best. And let's call it the black and blue division again. Let's beat the hell out of each other.
Man, that was a great time back then, man. You know what I'm saying? But let me ask you this, B. Mitch. What the hell is going on with special teams these days? Nobody plays special teams great anymore. What is that all about?
Well, I think the rules of the NFL now are making people too cautious. I actually had a comment. I would say it was a discussion, but it was kind of an argument with Jay Gruden just the other day. I ran into him at an event, and he wanted to question me about what I used to say when he was coaching. But I just think that you have people outside of the game of football making rules about football.
Yeah,
right.
And as I always felt, no matter what the rules stipulate, this is still a very, very hardcore, dangerous game. So you prepare yourself for that. You know, I remember when I first got there, and John Harbaugh actually said, well, how do you practice? I said, well, just line us up. You'll find out. So we were just in shells and stuff, and I'm running a punt return. I grabbed the ball. I went 30, 40 yards, full speed down the field, because that's the way I'm playing the game. No, we're not going to tackle each other in practice, but I'm going full speed. And I forgot who it was standing in the hole, and I just ran over him. What are you doing? I say, in the game, if you're there, I'm going to put my helmet in your back. So get used to getting out the hole. And I remember we had a preseason game, and you could see the guys on the film get that block, get their butts out the hole. No, I was coming. And I think that's about it. Guys today, they want to let the rules protect them. Yeah. No, you prepare for a rigorous game of football, and you get your body ready to go out there and have 25, 30 damn car accidents a game. And if you're not doing that, you are there. You shorten yourself.
They're not doing that here.
Protect the money guys. And I think the guys got to understand, from the smallest person on the team to the biggest, you got to protect yourself.
Yeah, yeah. Hey, B. Mitch, I got to ask you this, man, because it's been such a hot topic. Your thoughts on what Jack Del Rio came out and said, and how it's been received down in that area?
Well, my thoughts were broadcast nationwide, to be honest with you, because I really took offense to it. You know, I understand that he's saying, but look, both things were horrible. The rioters and the looters, that's terrible.
Yes.
Okay. But the things that happened at January 6th at the Capitol,
yes,
that is not a police thing. That's something that Congress has to make sure it never happens. And they got to attack. They got to go after those people wholeheartedly, because this is like someone trying to basically, overthrow a government in a sense. You know, so whenever something happens on a regular basis, we can't expect Congress to go out there and do it. The police department does that. And they've gotten a lot of those looters, those rioters. A lot of people are sitting in jail. A lot of people have paid some major fines. But when Congress comes involved is when you're doing things that goes against the Constitution. And that's exactly what happened. So that's why they're doing their job. And I voiced my opinion very, very hard. And I felt that Ron has been in a position several times, and he never said anything. And I think that it's just like we have kids. And if your kid does something wrong and you don't reprimand them, they're going to try it again. And if you don't reprimand them, they're going to try it even twice the next time.
Yep.
So if you were to stop them the first time, you can shut it down. And I believe that he has gotten to a point where he felt empowered to say and do what he wants. Now, yes, this is the United States of America. We all have a right to say what we want to say. We have to do what we want to do. But you know what? There's another level to that. There are consequences for some of those things. And when your saying and doing become a distraction and causes other people issues, you heard a lot of these congressional people saying that they're not going to vote for the team when it comes to getting a stadium in Virginia and all those things. That's affecting this franchise. So somebody has to come down on them. So, CDC, choices, decision, consequences. If you can't deal with the consequences, don't make that wrong choice or make that wrong decision.
Brian, just to stay on that for a minute. So I saw some players, I think John Finale may have been one of them, basically saying, and I'm paraphrasing here, this is not a direct quote, but hey, just dial up the right plays and I can roll or whatever. Some guys have said that. I can't imagine that's the sentiment for all those guys. And I know Ron Rivera addressed it today and said, hey, he was contrite. He opened it up to questions. We feel like we're good and all that. What's your sense? Do you think it's all good now?
I think that if it doesn't happen again, it's all good. Okay. And I would say this, and I'm sure Barrett understands this. We as players, people call them dumb jocks. I think we're the smartest people in the world. We make decisions. So we don't ever truly voice our 100% true opinion in front of that mic or that camera. But if you turn it off and you tell me it's off the record, I'll give you a totally different answer. Question. And I've heard people say that happens a lot with this team. Ultimately, there are going to be people who are going to be upset, but they're not going to say nothing. It's depending on what level you are. How important are you to the team? Certain people say certain things. And then there are guys like Jonathan. I believe Jonathan tries to keep the peace. He's a leader. But I don't believe his comments over air is 100% what he truly believes. I just don't believe it. But I will say this. When you make an apology, it's not proven the day that you make it. It's proven 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks down the line. And I think that is what's going to happen. If Jack Del Rio is going to want people to look at him in a different light, he has to stay off of Twitter. That's where I got upset with it. I'm like, you leading these guys, and you're out here making these comments that are going to cause as much strife as anything else. But you're the leader. So if a player did something on Twitter, I damn sure didn't want to hear him tell them what they can and can't do. So the thing about it, like my dad always told me, and as David Cully told me, you can't be a leader when you want to be. You got to be a leader 24/7.
All the time.
That's right. That's what we have to prove too.
B-Mitch, what is it about this organization, man, that just continues to sink in a cesspool of negativity? Will this team ever rise out of it? Because, you know, you were talking about people now not wanting to vote for them to get this new stadium in Virginia. But when it was announced on social media a few weeks ago that the organization had bought this piece of land to build a stadium in Virginia, a lot of the comments I saw is, I'm not driving to Virginia to watch this team. Will this team ever rise out of this cesspool that they've been in for the last decade?
I sure hope so. You know, I think the thing about it is, listen, man, when things are happening bad, just like in a football game, when things are going wrong, they go wrong. And then when you start seeing it, you know you got to do something different, but you can't seem to. I think a lot of this, the problem has been a lot of people has talked. They said what they were going to do. Like when Ron was hired, he said, we're going to change the culture. They're going to do it our way or whatever. You got to be consistent across the board with that. And enough with the talking. Okay, let's go out now and make the proper decision and adjustment, and let's start doing. I think when that starts to happen, and you realize that your players are the most important asset that you have when you own a football franchise, then your fans come next. It's not about the coaches per se. It's not about the salespeople. It's about the players and the fans, because those are the two people that can make. They're the people that make the players make the fans show up, and the fans spend all their money. If you got those two things in your corner, you're going to win a lot of football games. You're going to make a lot of money. Things are going to be good. But when you go out there with the wrong mindset, you know, I ask people all the time, and they get mad at me. Well, you hating? No, I'm not hating, but I think everybody got involved with pro football to win games. I would hope to win a Super Bowl. I would hope, you know. And if you're not trying to do that, then I'm going to have a problem with it. So I really believe they need to find out what is their end result. What are they trying to truly get to? Is it about making money? Or is it about winning football games? It's about winning football games, putting more into your players than you do anything else.
Well, speaking of that, putting money into your players, how is your number one weapon? It hasn't even caught a pass from Carson Wentz yet, holding out right now. And you're not paying the guy. You ain't paying nobody on the opposite side of the ball. You can at least pay your best wide receiver and Terry McLaurin. What is going on with that?
I wish I knew. I talked about that probably 75% of my show today because, listen, when you look at Terry McLaurin, you see a guy who's going to give you everything that you ask for. He's going to go above and beyond. He's a guy you don't have to worry about. He performs on the football field. He's a third-round draft pick who has over 3,000 yards in 3 years. He has 16 touchdowns. The guy is a consummate professional. So, yes, that is a guy you want to have on your team. But and this is just my opinion. Defensive-minded coaches seem to want to play defensive players, and vice versa. Offensive-minded coaches want to play offensive players. In my heart of hearts, I believe that this will get done. But if it doesn't, I wouldn't be shocked because, like you said earlier, Derek, when is this team going to get out of this cesspool? Like, things just keep happening wrong for them. You know, when you want to change your reputation, you take care of those who's taking care of their business. You make sure you keep the good guys around. And I think Terry McLaurin is definitely a good guy, and they need to get him signed.
Ryan, I got to ask you about Carson Wentz. You know, we saw it up close and personal. We saw the good in 2017 before the knee injury was a huge piece of that team winning a Super Bowl because of what he did up to that point.
Yes.
We also saw the downfall of it. We've seen him now jettisoned from 2 organizations in the last 2 years. What's your sense of him through the short period of time he's been there, and how do you think he's going to play out this year?
I think Carson understands that this may be like that last chance.
That's
because right now I'm hearing from players and things. Jonathan Allen has said it many times publicly that he's talking to everybody. He's done everything. And as I say to people, and I'm not trying to be negative, but when things are going good, it's easy to be a new person.
No question.
You know, if things are going to go bad, then is he going to resort to that? Just like I said about Jack's apology, it's going to be proven over time. The guy has the tools to get it done. But I think most of his problems has been his personality and the way he handles his teammates. And I think he needs to try and understand he needs to change that. You know, you look at how he left the Eagles. I hear all the stories about he and Darren Sproles and all those different things. But then he goes up to Indianapolis.
Whoa, how'd you hear about Darren Sproles? Whoa, it's way down the turnpike. Whoa, I know that.
Hey, bro. One thing about B. Mitch, I'm going to be in the know.
Yes, sir.
So when he gets to Indianapolis, you know, when it came down to show your true self, he wasn't able to. Now, all the stuff that has transpired since they got rid of him, I think the owner has a vendetta, you know, out for him. But you had a coach that was really in your corner, and that coach did not stand on the table to fight for you. So at this point now, he has to understand it's not that he doesn't have the talent, it's how he reacts when things are going bad. Is he going to take a little blame and not start looking at other people? I think if he can start doing that, that may help him out a little bit, because I know about being a quarterback. If you don't take some blame for some things, you have a lot of people that don't care about you anymore.
That was his biggest. That was his
even if it's not your fault,
yeah.
take some blame.
Right?
Yeah,
He never did
I
that.
learned that a long time ago, to where I learned the blocking schemes, and if I knew who missed the block, I would say he threw a great block, and then the guy comes to me like, man, I missed my block. I got your back. Don't worry about it. Now he's willing to go do whatever he can for you. You know, you got to learn how to look. Life is a game, man. And you got to learn how to play it. And when you're in a position, quarterback, most dependent position in all the sports, if you're in that position, you find a way to give people credit when they might not deserve it, to make sure that they go out there and work even harder for you to help elevate you. And a lot of guys just don't understand that.
Brian, when you look at this team on paper as you know it right now, are you optimistic, pessimistic, or wait and see attitude?
I've said it here publicly. I'm taking a wait and see attitude. You know, I've gotten overly hyped, and I was proven wrong, and I've been dogging them out, and they went out and done some good things. But right now, it's not about the individual players. I need to see how the whole thing comes together, and that means coaches making adjustments when things don't seem to be working. I watched them put Jamin Davis in the game, and then they learned much later that, he's not a middle linebacker. Well, when did you see this? Did it take you till week 11, week 12 to see it? If
you never was a middle
2,
linebacker.
3, make the adjustments. See, I just want to see adjustments made on the fly. I want to see players, you know, take ownership. I don't understand why every player, he's the coach. That's fine. But this is not high school and college anymore. This is pro football. And I used to tell Norv Turner and a lot of other coaches, and I tell Andy, this is my team as much as it's your team. I'm not going to have a coach put me in a position that I know it's not going to work. You know, I had to tell Bobby Jackson one time, I said, you're the coach from Monday to Saturday. On Sunday, I'm the damn coach. Because what I do on that field is not going to affect him. It's going to affect me. People look at what you do. And I think a lot of people need to figure that out, where, you know, we all have to do the right thing. And if these, like, you know, in this day and age, guys like playing video games, this, that, and the other, I never played video games. But I tell you one thing, when I stepped in the meeting room, I stepped on the football field, I knew what I had to do, and probably the next 6 people down the line across from me knew what they had to do too, to help the team out. I watched the offense on the other team to help Jim Johnson see stuff coming. Why? You be into the game, and it makes you learn and understand football even better.
Brian, how big was the adjustment for you coming out of college as a quarterback and becoming a premier special teams return man in the NFL? How tough go from a 5th rounder to your rookie year with the Redskins?
Well, I think just looking in the sky for your job, that was the toughest thing.
Yeah.
I had never caught a punt or a kick. Well, kickoff return I caught in practice, but I never caught punts. I never returned kickoffs and never returned punts ever in my life until I got to the NFL. So it was a drastic change, but the way I always thought about it, once the ball is in my hand, it's football, you know, and having success so early, my first kick return went for a touchdown. Now it made me be excited about it. You know, I think about it. People say, what if you had gotten hit and knocked on the back of your head? I say, I probably would have left and went to Canada and played quarterback.
Wow.
But the fact that first kick return was for a touchdown, it made me dive into it. And I began to study and learning to spin on the football, all the stuff I need to learn to become a very good kick and punt returner. And once I started to be comfortable, like reading the punter, knowing when he was going to kick the ball, the rest of it was football. Once the ball's in your hand, it's time to shine.
See, that's if you hear the main thing he keeps talking about, he studied the game, a student of the game. You know, I mean, that's how you stay in the league. That's how I stayed in the league 12 years. I now learned. I started out with just a left tackle, but then I learned, well, hey, I got to know what everybody else is doing. So I learned guard, center, right guard, and right tackle. You know, just to stay around. But the biggest thing is, you know, bro, to this day, man, I never knew about a punt or a punt return until I was out there with Randall L. one time. He said, B. Brooks, watch this. Now watch these big old linebackers out here try to take my head off and listen to them when they're away. I just want you to listen to them, watch the ball and listen to him as it's coming down. I sat on the sidelines and we were away. And when they punted it, I looked up in the air and I could hear the linebackers go. I'm like, yo, I was straight up like, yo, I cannot believe it's like that. They trying to take your head off. Yeah. Bro, big ups to you because I could have never done it, man. I heard it. I saw it firsthand on the sideline. I looked at it. Bro, they tried to kill y'all, man.
Oh, yeah. But see, they weighed 180. I weighed 220. I had a little bit more than me, so I could go out there. I wasn't gonna bring a knife to a gunfight. I was bringing this gun to that gunfight.
hey, B. Mitch, should Daniel Snyder sell his team and just ride off into the sunset?
You know what? I think many people think that that'll be the thing that's working, but when you work so hard to get something, I think everybody, when you're down in the dumps, you feel I can get out of it. And I think, if he feels he can fight out of it, keep fighting for it. Because I'm sure people that are on the outside looking in, that's what they wish he would do. But I don't think that that's the thing that you should do. If he still feel like I've always felt, no matter what games we're in, I can still make the play to bring us back. I think Dan still feels that way too.
Brian, you mentioned, and we appreciate your outspokenness. You're not a guy who's afraid to speak your mind. I'm talking post football now in your media career. Have you had a lot of run-ins with teams, with coaches, with players? I know all the three of us have over our career. Have you had that same thing?
I've had people say stuff, but they don't say it to me.
They're afraid of you.
The reason is, it's like I'm paid to do a job, and my job is to give my opinion on stuff, whether good or bad. Okay, and I tell people I'm an analyst. And analysis is not always positive. So I know a lot of people that work in this industry, and I tell them straight up, I say, if you're going to make a comment and then immediately go look on Twitter and Instagram, you're setting yourself up for failure. Because if I'm the person who's supposed to be the expert and I know what I'm looking at and I know what I'm talking, you're asking me my opinion. Once I give you my opinion, I don't care what the other people think.
Right.
And every once in a while I look at it, and then I'll respond to people. I just laugh, or I say that's kind of funny. I say, you know what, you gave me something to think about. But I'm not gonna get into an argument with somebody who's sitting at home, who's probably just looking for the opportunity to say something to me to get me riled up. I just don't believe in it. I believe in once if I have put my work in, and I watch film, which I know most people never do. You got everybody says they watch film these days. No, they watch TV. They don't watch film. Film. It takes you 2-3 hours to watch a quarter of football if you really want to break it down and know everything. So if you watch the whole game in a matter of 30 minutes to 40 minutes, you're watching TV. So I'm not going to sit there and give them the opportunity to go against me. But I'm sure their coach, well, like I said, Jay Gruden, I talked to him the other day. I hadn't seen him in over a year, 2 years, and he was like, man, you used to say a lot of stuff about me. I say, well, was it wrong? And he's like, well, I don't think you knew what you was talking about. Well, I might not know. I don't have to know your playbook. I don't have to know the plays you call. But I can damn sure tell you it wasn't to let the line go through, let the people come through your office. I know that. So I think people that's the coach's excuse of, well, you don't even know the play we were called. You don't know our playbook. I know it wasn't designed for that quarterback to get sacked that many times. I know that.
I love that though. I really do love that, B-Miss, because a lot of the times football is football is football. The same plays I ran Pop Warner, same plays I ran when I was in college, same plays I ran when I was in NFL. They just called a different play. I know in a screenplay, the first guard that gets out, the first person that gets out of the offensive line, he's got to get the widest guy. The first guy, he's got to get the mugger. He's got to get the guy that has the back man to man. Once he blocks him, the second guy out has to get the widest guy on the field. The next guard has to come around, check the backside, and then get up the line. It's like that everywhere. It just called differently. You know what I'm saying? It is called differently. So I got it. I got it to a starting center, great center, Pro Bowler, and he said, "You don't know what you're talking about." I said, "Oh, so on that play, you didn't get the mugger. You were the first person out, right?" He said, "Yeah, you're supposed to get the mugger." What do you mean by mugger? You're supposed to get the guy that had the back man to man, right? And he said, just like this. I said, okay, then, yeah. Okay, then. Okay, then.
What has happened? Football has not changed, like you said, since I was playing Pop Warner.
Right.
It's still 0 hole, 2-4, 8, and you go the other way. They still run slant routes. They still run post. They do all the same stuff. But the coaches today, especially the West Coast offense coaches, they have plays that are 16 to 20 words.
Yeah, exactly.
I still don't understand why you do that when you only have 25 seconds to get the play call, get to the line, and the ball. And then you got the coaches who say, "Well, my offense is so difficult." If I get through a season and if your offense can't understand your offense, it's too damn difficult.
Yeah.
You know? So I think what they do things to justify their existence instead of make the game easy for your guys and become so good. Joe Gibbs, Jack Wright, 40 gut. That was a play. Jack Wright, 40 gut. Okay, 4 words. And they ran it 4, 5, 6, 10 times in a row. And you know what the defense couldn't do? Couldn't stop it. So it didn't have to be, 500 words to call out a play. And then you go out there and your players, everybody looking back at the quarterback like, what was the play? Because it's too many damn words. We listen for the formation and the first thing to tell us to play, and we out.
Yep,
but
that's
if you
it.
got 20 words, I gotta sit there and listen. The crowd is cheering, the ref is trying to rush you up, you're hearing whistles, all that stuff. You don't hear everything. So people need to just make football simple like it's always been.
That's that Gruden stuff, man. That 320
John
Gruden,
Gruden,
9,
crazy.
Explanana.
I don't need a paragraph. All I need is a couple words.
Right. With me, all I heard was 322 means 3-step drop, 22 protection. That means it's scab protection. And after that, on 2. And I go to the line.
Hey, B-Mitch, through the years, man, I've heard you make a lot of comments on your post-game shows for NBC Sports Washington by way of Facebook and Twitter. And I've sat back many times because I've got to know you through the years. Nothing should surprise me, but every time I hear one of your comments, especially when things are going bad at Washington, I jump, I go, oh, damn, did he just say that? Because, as you know, your employer, NBC Sports Washington, they have a relationship with a team, could be monetary relationship. The team views you as a former alumni of the team. Do you occasionally get comments from either NBC Sports Washington or the team? Can you tone it back just a little bit?
No, they have never. I know for sure, NBC Sports Washington never come to me and say, "Don't say this, don't say that." I was told when I was first hired by Rebecca. I forgot Rebecca's last name, but she told me, as long as you have backing in what you say, we support it. Because I told them, I said, listen, I like to have a clause put in my contracts, and they're like, what do you mean? My contract states I would hire for my opinion, not their opinion.
Yep.
Okay. And the team, one thing the team can never say, I never make things personal. I don't attack certain. If it's news, I'm going to talk about it. Now, when you ask me about my opinion of a football game, I'm not lying just because I played for that team. You know what I'm saying? The whole thing is people outside of this, like I get a lot of fans walking up to me and they say, man, you used to play for the team. Why would you say that? I say, what I said was the truth? Yes. So why wouldn't I say it? Because if I sat there and I said the opposite of it, and I consistently said the opposite, I think fans and ultimately are like kids. If you keep messing over a kid, kids realize who you are. And I think the fans will see the same thing. They'll see right through you. They like you. They like the team. But if you're not telling them the truth about something, they're going to eventually not like you anymore. And I refuse to ever fail because of that. Listen, like John Thompson said, you can't pay me enough to fail. You're telling me what to do. No. I'm going to do it my way. And if I lose my job based off of what I'm doing, based off of how I think so, that's cool. But if you tell me to do something and I do what you tell me, and then people stop listening because you told me how to do something, then you fire me, that's not cool in my book.
Well said. Well said. I think the organizations and the fans sometimes think our job is to cheerlead, and it's not. It's to give our opinions and keep it as real
and be objective.
Yeah, and that doesn't mean you have to agree with us, but that's where we're coming from. It's not based off of. Of course, you would like the Washington football team to win or the Commanders to win, but you got to keep it real. And I think that's the confusion sometimes. Brian, that was awesome, man. That was awesome. It was great talking to you.
Thank you so much, man.
Oh, anytime, man.
Hey, look, we're going to be hitting you up again during the season when we take a tour around the NFC East when we start breaking it down. So if you think you heard the last of D-Gun, you're sadly mistaken.
Hey, man, when I'm free, D, y'all got me, man. Just like I had to host this thing yesterday, and then my daughter's getting married this weekend. So,
wow.
I'm watching money just run out my account, man. They try to run like I ran against Tampa.
Man, hey, look, B. Mitch, I paid for 2 weddings in less than 3 years, 2 daughters. And that was the last wedding was 2019. I'm still hemorrhaging. So I just want you to know what's coming, bro. See.
I got 2 more daughters too.
Oh, Lord. Oh my God. Oh.
Well, Brian, I hear you, man. I hear you. We're all feeling it for you, but we appreciate you giving us a couple minutes. Congratulations to your daughter.
Yeah,
Enjoy the wedding, man. Have fun. All the best. Thank you, Brian.
Thank you, bro. Take care, man. Be cool.
All right, you got it. That is Brian Mitchell. He's one of a kind, man, Brian. He is a fun dude to chat with because he's going to keep it real. He is going to keep it as real as it gets kept. That's for sure. All right. I'll step aside, guys. We roll. This has been flying today, man. We're rolling into the final segment when we get back. We'll do a little open talk. We'll jump around a little bit. Bunch of stuff to cover when we get back, including the NBA, as we touched on a little bit earlier. Serena may be coming back to Wimbledon. We'll get into that. Some big-time coin being thrown around for MLS. We'll get into that. Deshaun Watson meets with the media, some crazy stuff from golf with the Live, all that stuff and more when we get back. We are Sports Take. Derek Gunn, Barrett Brooks, Rob Ellis, JAKIB Sports YouTube Network.
Go for the polls and the pools. Go for the oohs and the ahs. Go for the bubbles and the bubbly. Go for the story and the stories. Go for the win. Go to Ocean Casino Resort. Book your trip at theoceanac.com.
Field of life, First Trust Bank is there for you.
Champions on 3. 1, 2, 3.
Because Philadelphia dreams deserve a Philadelphia bank.
At Stateside Vodka, every new customer gets the world's best rocks glass, free.
You're telling me that bottle is cut in half?
You could say that.
At Action News, we cherish every moment, and it's our profound responsibility to bring you closer to your world. Never miss a moment. Trust the people at Action News.
All right, did you know I was the Mommy Slam Dunk Champion?
Really?
Yes, really, don't sound so surprised.
Let's see it.
Oh, you're ready. All right, here we go. Let's hear the crowd. So go to right, I go to left, fake a mom. Mama, go up, mama!
She did it.
Again? You can't avoid gravity, but United Healthcare can help you avoid financial surprises by helping you compare costs and doctor quality ratings. United Healthcare.
Uh-huh. Go for the midnight dares. Go for the game. Go for the hits. Go for the fans. Go for the win. Go to Ocean Casino Resort. Book your trip at theoceanac.com.
Final segment of the program. Welcome back in, everybody. Sports Take. Along with Barrett Brooks, Derek Gunn, I am Rob Ellis, JAKIB Sports YouTube Network. We have had among our guests today, Kyle Neptune, Villanova head basketball coach, Tom McCarthy, Phillies play-by-play voice for NBC Sports Philadelphia, and Brian Mitchell. We just wrapped up with, if you missed any of those interviews or portions of them, very simple. Just go either to jakibsports.com or go to our JAKIB Sports YouTube Network. Go back, watch the interviews in their entirety, tell a friend, hit the like button, do all those good things that will keep things rolling here for us. That's for sure. All right, guys, I know we've talked a good amount about this this LIV, this Live Golf Invitational Series, and the amount of players that have kind of jumped over and all that. You know, it's just, you know what, it's gotten to the point now where there's a lot of sort of like infighting among the golfers and guys taking sort of pot shots, and Rory McIlroy being the latest, you know, saying, you know, basically guys are taking the easy way out. He said, quote, "I understand, yes, because a lot of these guys are in their late 40s. In Phil's case, early 50s. Yeah, I think everyone in this room would say to themselves that their best days are behind them. That's why I don't understand for the guys that are a similar age to me. Rory's in his, you know, mid-20s, whatever, mid to late 20s. Because I'd like to believe that my best days are still ahead of me. I think theirs are too. So that's where it feels like that they're taking the easy way out. In other words, I'm sorry, Rory's 33. Said he's basically, you know, this is like a money grab for these guys. And, you know, he thinks it's weak on their part that they're doing it. So just giving you that little tidbit.
So what? So what if it is a money grab? So what? You hear these guys talking about making more money playing less events.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, when you think about it, these guys spend from January to November traveling the United States and the globe trying to make a living. You know, travel, I don't care how much you enjoy what you're doing. Travel, wear and tear of travel gets to you after a while.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to attest to that. I traveled most of my career covering football. You know, most guys I know would cut off an arm to do what I've been able to do over 4 decades. Travel, eat free, 5-star hotels, 5-star restaurants, hobnob with players, getting games free, having the luxury of saying, I have been in every stadium, NFL stadium in the United States. But you know what? But behind all the glory, you know, there's the trials and tribulations of what you miss. You miss out on that family time. I missed a lot of my kids' events when they were coming up, you know, because of my job description. We didn't have 9-to-5 jobs, as you guys know. We don't have 9-to-5 jobs. It's 10 to 6 one day. The next day it could be noon to 8. Next day it's 3 to midnight.
Right.
There was no set schedule.
Nope.
So if you can make more money doing less in life, who wouldn't want to take that opportunity? Now, according to the Saudis have put $255 million into this thing for 8 events. And if I found out that I can make more money finishing in the top 20 or 25, more so than finishing in the top 5, running from January to November, and have small kids and a home life, what are you going to do? It's an easy business decision to make. You know, the PGA, the PGA has been the standard of golf for many, many decades, but there's a new kid on the block now. And and I'm not surprised the PGA is taking a stance. You know, the old boys network, wait a minute, you do this and we're going to do this to you. Hey, well, guess what? You can do whatever you want because I can go over here and make the same money or more money for doing less. You know, I don't need the PGA on my shirt anymore. There's a LIV now. If I can do this and provide for my family, why would I not take that opportunity? Plain and simple. Now, Rory McIlroy is standing up on behalf of the PGA. I get that. He's loyal to the PGA. But if I'm Rory McIlroy, you know what I'm saying? If you want me to be your mouthpiece as one of the guys still playing the game, throw me a bone on the side.
Right.
What are you going to put in my pocket?
Right.
You want me to be a mouth because now I'm causing dissension among the ranks. I'm alienating guys who I considered friends and allies. Even though we compete against each other, they're allies now. I mean, they're adversaries now because they've jumped ship. So if you want me to be that spokespiece, that mouthpiece for you, throw me a couple extra mil in my bank account.
Yeah, I hear you. Look, it's not going to stop either. This is going to continue to go on, you know, for the next few months at least while this is so new. There's no question about that. Beyond that, another story that's never going to end. So the latest, Tony Busby, who was the attorney who represents the women who were suing Deshaun Watson, told WEWS-TV in Cleveland on Monday that 2 more women are planning to file suits. We talked about this the other day, guys. It's going to keep happening. And I don't think the league knows what to do with this because of that. But Watson was at camp today for, mandatory mini camp today for the Browns and, addressed, the toll this is taking on the people around him. He said, quote, I do understand that, in other words, the impact around the allegations are having on other people. He said, I do understand that I do have regrets as far as the impact that it had on the community, people outside of just myself. And that includes my family. That includes this organization. That includes my teammates in this locker room that have to answer these questions. That includes the fans base of the Cleveland Browns, including males, females, everyone across the world. That's one thing I do regret is the impact it's triggered on so many. He also, continues to profess his innocence. He says, look, I didn't do anything. I didn't harass anybody. I wasn't inappropriate in any way, shape, or form. I haven't done anything wrong. So we're in a classic he said, she said here with this thing, man. And it's just never going to go away, it feels like.
Well, I mean, it's not going to go away because, I mean, to have, what did he say, over
66, now 68 women?
Well,
66 times. Come on, man. I mean, there's got to be something. Where there's smoke, there's fire. But still, though, you know, the league can't continue to just hold their water like this. You know what I'm saying? You know, they got to go ahead and make a decision. I mean, why are they waiting? This is 2 years of them waiting on the decision. It's not their job to say, you know, anything other than, all right, did you do something wrong? If you did something wrong, we're going to give it to you. We're going to give you this. You know what I mean? They've had plenty of time to go through and interview whoever they need to interview, get all the, you know, whatever you want against them. Right. You know, it should have been done.
I can't get over the fact that two courts in Houston have thrown the case out. Now, obviously, you don't just throw the case out without doing substantial investigation and background work to come to that conclusion that quickly, that we don't feel there's enough evidence for this to go to trial. Now, so how are the courts in Houston viewing this, and how will other courts view this as well? I will say this about Deshaun Watson, because this is an embarrassing situation for him and everybody closely surrounded around. I just saw on Twitter today, he put out a tweet saying that he's been out and about in the community to get to feel for the landscape in Cleveland in terms of how people perceive him. And he said him and his girlfriend were even having a movie recently, and that somebody came over and bought him like popcorn and stuff like that. So he feels good about how Cleveland is receiving him so far. But in the bigger scheme of things, because there's so much of a gray area in terms of what the league is going to do, you have to wonder, did Cleveland make a wise business decision now? Because it's not your fault that you're being held hostage by the league, because the league won't make a ruling on this.
Right.
But you may have to pull the rug on this guy. He may start for you, but you may have to pull the rug on him. And if there ever is substantial evidence that he did something wrong, the league is well within its right to change the penalty for him. It could be 6 games. It could be a year.
Right.
See exactly. So, you know, you have to wonder, did Cleveland make a very good business decision by going out and getting him? Now, if it works out in Cleveland's favor, people are going to pat them on the back. But right now, you guaranteed this man $230-something million. You don't even know he can play for you yet, or how long he can play for you.
You're in this just waiting game, and it's brutal, man. Really. I mean, and you guys look at the one quarterback sitting there on the roster. It's unbelievable. You know what's going on there. That's for sure. All right, did you guys see this? The Bruce Smith beef with Tony Baselli going into the Hall of Fame. You familiar with this? So Baselli,
no. What?
It's such a weird, like, why even comment on this? I don't get it. But anyway, so apparently Bruce Smith is upset that supporters of Tony Baselli are using Baselli's dominating him in a playoff game as one of the reasons he got elected to the Hall of Fame, which on face I think is nonsense. Baselli would have got in anyway. But anyway, so there's a quote from Bruce Smith where he said, a large part of the campaign to promote Tony Baselli into the Hall of Fame seems to hyper-focus on a singular successful performance he had against me in a 1996 playoff game. He put this on Instagram. On the one hand, I'm quite flattered to be considered the gold standard by which another player's game can be measured to determine his qualification into the Hall of Fame. But on a more serious level, I and other Hall of Famers believe it's a horrible precedent to negatively zero in on a standing member of the Hall a member of the Hall's play in order to validate the candidacy of another guy. Like, come on, dude. No, who is taking anything away from Bruce Smith? Have you heard one person? Have either one of you heard anybody knock Bruce Smith because Tony Baselli got in the Hall of Fame?
No.
What it is Baselli used to whoop Bruce Smith.
Yeah.
A new one.
So,
and he's mad about it.
Right. No, Barrett, you're dead on, but like, can the guy let the guy have his moment too, man? You're already in. Like, you won.
No, he's mad because he's just saying, you know, all right, you know, the only reason he's getting in because he had a good game against me. That's the only reason why he's getting in. No, he did a lot of people like that.
Yeah, this dude was a phenomenal, and I could care less about Tony Baselli, frankly, but the guy was a great player back in his day. I mean, come on.
Yeah, we got drafted the same year.
Okay.
He was the number one offensive
USC,
lineman.
right? He was a USC guy, right?
Yeah, he was number 1. Ruben Brown was number 2. I was supposedly supposed to be number 3. It didn't work out that way because I won the second round.
Okay.
But there were guys drafted in front of Blake Brockmeyer and stuff like that.
Right. But yeah, you had a pretty good class, man. Offensive lineman.
Zach Wiegert. It was a
Rams.
bunch. Yep. So, it was a lot of guys that got drafted in my draft, man. But, it was a deep, deep draft. And Baselli, man, if it wasn't for his shoulders just falling off,
yeah,
he could have played forever.
He's one of those guys. If you look at him now, you can't believe how big he was back in the day. He dropped a lot of it. He's actually pretty good. He's decent on. He does color analyst work on, I think, Westwood
Radio.
One.
Yeah,
Radio.
Westwood One. Yep.
He works with Tom McCarthy a good amount. And that guy we had on earlier.
Yep.
So crazy. We were talking to Tom a little bit earlier. So a couple other things. Looks like Serena Williams may be returning. She's been out, if you guys remember.
And she had a baby and all that stuff.
Right. Yeah, and she got hurt too. She injured her leg, and it looks like now she's will play at Wimbledon. They announced today that she was awarded what you call a wild card entry for singles, and this is her return to the Grand Slam. She's been away for a year just to try and get, deal with her family life and get healthy and all that good stuff. So I mean, you're talking about the greatest that's ever done it, the most dominant that's ever done it, coming back. They can call her a wild card, call her whatever you want. I wouldn't bet against her. I can tell you that, man. She
deserves that.
How about she's won Barrett seven times at Wimbledon?
Wow.
Okay, just at Wimbledon 7 times. She was the runner-up in 18 and 19. So she is she's at GOAT level. That's for sure. Whenever we have these discussions,
that's just respect, man. That's just respect, man. You're supposed to give her that respect. Okay, I've been out for a little bit. Give me that respect. Let me come back, and let me compete. Because regardless, there's not gonna be too many people that can beat me, even with me being out of shape or whatever.
And
you know what I'm saying?
That's a crazy thing. It's like tennis players. We're seeing it now. It's different now than what it used to be. But like these guys, the fact that Nadal and Federer and Serena are still doing it at this high level. Back in the day, man, these guys were done by their 30s, by their early mid 30s. It's amazing when you think
it's the difference in training, your nutrition, how you approach the game now, how you play the game now. That same way with football. When you see players get more longevity out of the game than ever before, it's just a sign of the times. As we continue to go forward, I fully expect, maybe not in my lifetime, but as long as there is an NFL, I fully expect to see one day a player still playing close to 50 years of age. Now Brady's close 50 or 45. But it's inevitable. It's inevitable.
Modern medicine, man. Modern medicine, man. Yeah. I remember guys just get ACL tears. They was ending their careers. Yeah. Now ACL tears like going in and you just put a Band-Aid on. Now they come in, you're back in like 9 months. You know what I mean? Achilles.
9, 6, 7, 8.
Right. Yeah.
It's
ridiculous. It's ridiculous how well and then also it's a lot different because I was talking to, who was that I was talking to? I was talking to a former player about, I was talking to Irvin Fryer. Reason camp was so long back in the day and it was so hard is because that's what players use to get in shape for the game.
Absolutely.
As opposed to now they come in shape. Guys used to, when off season came around, they used to get jobs. They used to work. Yeah. They weren't making that much money.
They had to.
Right.
Yep.
So they would work. And then, towards the training camp, they might run a little bit, but they would use training camp to get themselves into playing shape, as opposed to them going in. Now they just go in shape because it's all year round. It's 24/7, 365 days a year, 7 days a week, man. They got to go in and be in shape. So it's just a lot, times are just a lot different now. Modern medicine, everything else.
I thought this was interesting. So MLS, Major League Soccer, and Apple have agreed, Apple TV have announced a partnership that could be upwards of $300 million.
Jeez.
Wow.
And it's going to run from the 23 season to the 32 season. Fans can get full access to the games on the streaming devices. And this is where a lot of this is going with streaming, as we well know. But yeah, that's a major coup for MLS to get that kind of coin, man. That is some serious paper right there.
Wow. It's funny how for years people looked at soccer as an afterthought in the United States. It's a more popular game the most popular game in other countries, you know, like Germany, France, Spain, Mexico.
It's the number one sport around the world.
Oh, yeah.
It's the number one sport. Yeah.
Yeah. But, you know, now there are more and more kids and teenagers playing soccer than ever before in the United States. And the reason being, a lot of kids are shying away from football because of the severity of the injuries and the long-term effect on your body and your mind in a lot of cases. And so for Apple to jump on this, and Apple has always been so innovative in a lot of things they do. If they're putting a possibility of 300, you said billion?
Million.
Oh, 300 million into this. This is just scratching the surface of what's to come for pro soccer in the United States. You know, I have a lot of friends, adult friends, who watch European soccer all the time. They watch the Manchester United and all these teams over there religiously, more so than football in America.
Yep.
You know, and they sit there and talk about soccer, and I'm like this.
I hear you.
You know, and so it's coming. It's been way overdue, and it's coming in this country. And the fact that Apple is jumping on this, I expect to see more and more big name products in the United States to follow suit when it comes to soccer in this country.
Yeah, I hear you. All right, so let's swing back to the NBA Finals and get a sense of what we're looking at here for Game 6. So if you didn't see it last night, Golden State beat the Celtics by 10 in a game where Steph Curry was off, man. Steph Curry ends up snapping a 233-game streak with a three-pointer made. He went 0 for 9 from 3 last night, yet they still win the game. Boston really bad in the first half and then kind of collapsed in the fourth quarter because they made a run in the third, but then collapsed in the fourth quarter. Are we calling this thing over, boys? Are we calling this over in
I have
Boston?
to say it, man.
No.
I do, man. I got to say it simply because the last 2 games they played in, they just lost all the fundamentals that come with scoring.
A lot of turnovers.
Yeah. I mean, driving to the basket, you know, losing the ball, you know, that's not being fundamentally sound with the ball. You know, they're not playing fundamentally right. You know, you driving all the way to the hole and you kick it out and not like, you know, like the Golden State Warriors aren't going to be in the passing lane. You know, they just played. You could tell the experience of the Warriors stepped up. The experience of the Warriors became, you know, very prevalent in those last 2 games. And, you know, they just took the game over.
Yeah, no question.
I fully expected to go 7. I've said it off from the outset of this series. I expected to go 7. This is the first time that Boston has lost back-to-back games in this playoffs period. You know, and they've been stung. They've been stung by a Golden State team that finally figured it out. And as I said off the top of this show, beat them at their own game last night, which was defense early on. But then you watch what Boston did in that third quarter. They came out and hit 8 straight threes, you know, to get back in this game and take the lead. They took a lead 58-55 and then 66-61. They couldn't sustain it. And if you would tell me that Seth Curry would go 0 for 9 beyond the arc and would be the lowest scorer, one of the lowest scorers for his team after coming off that 43-point performance, I would take that bet 100% every time. But now I sit here and I ask the questions. You look at what Wiggins has done for Golden State the last couple of games. Could he be your MVP if Golden State wins this series?
If he plays well the next game, I think so. I think they want to give it to Steph, but I think if Wiggins lights it up in the next game, I think it's going to be Wiggins. All right, that'll do it for us today, guys. Tomorrow we have Jeff McClain. On Thursday, former Eagle tight end Trey Burton. This was fun today, guys. Great job. Great work out of you two, out of Barrett and Alexander Krause, our producer. Don't go anywhere. National Football Show coming up with Dan Cilio. I'm Rob Ellis. We're back tomorrow. Everybody, thanks for watching. Thanks for streaming. Thanks for listening. Thanks for the comment section. We'll be back tomorrow at the same time. Everybody, we are Sports Take, JAKIB Sports YouTube Network.
Go for the polls and the pools. Go for the oohs and the ahs. Go for the bubbles and the bubbly. Go for the story and the stories. Go for the win. Go to Ocean Casino Resort. Book your trip at theoceanac.com.
On the field of life, First Trust Bank is there for you.
Champions on 3. 1, 2, 3.
Because Philadelphia dreams deserve a Philadelphia bank.
At Stateside Vodka, every new customer gets the world's best rocks glass, free.
You're telling me that bottle is cut in half?
You could say that.